Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Y'all, this is actually not the first clip I'm making it the first clip, but this is not the first clip I made for this video. The next clip that you're gonna hear is actually the initial clip that I made, and this is an add-on to the initial video that I was making. The next clip I actually made a week ago, and this clip I'm making now, I'm making here today, right? So I'm not gonna do my typical intro where I tell you the links to check out in the description box and comment section and listen to my story, etc., because that intro is already in the next clip. I'm just trying to quickly document something that took place this week that I wasn't going to document because I already have told you all in prior videos that I've made it a habit of not making work videos anymore because of what took place a few months ago at my night job, right? I stay clear of making videos about work. I really do. Much less to be making a video about this new job that I just told you all about, that I started orientation for this week. This is a serious position where I'm actually a member of law enforcement. So I really can't play with making videos about this job. It's actually to the point where once I do get into the jail, if the most I spares my life, there's a confidentiality clause. So I definitely can't document anything that takes place in there because I could actually get into trouble, like trouble with the law for doing that. So this is not going to be a habitual thing, but I do have to talk about what took place this week only because I wasn't going to make a video about it. I really wasn't. I thought I understood what the intent was, what was happening. But then I had a reaction today and I got gaslit about it. And so this is where I'm like, nah. I kind of started realizing what was happening and I'm like, no, I need to talk about this. So I don't have much time, y'all. As you can see at the top, it says 5:23 and I get off at 6. They don't want me to hear the ref campaign. They hate when I knock down these narratives. If I just sit there and I let the awkward moment, how I've talked to, let this thing drive by because I'm almost certain it's the garbage truck again. Oh, shockingly not. My bad. It's someone else roughing by that's upset and angry that I'm able to knock. They love it, right? The gang stalkers, I mean. Because remember, the whole island is watching. My targeting is a unique one. But not everyone is involved. A lot of people are involved. But some people are just innocent bystanders. They're just watching the shit show. And then you have your active gang stalkers who are holding on to grudges, who have an issue with me. And so they love when something bad is happening with me. And so when I make these videos and I can knock down what it is that's happening, they get enraged. And so some of them will start revving by and doing crazy things to distract me. Anyway, so let me quickly talk about this thing though, y'all. Because again, I don't want to, like I told you on the last video, remember I was talking about how it's this reactive abuse thing that can turn into self-sabotage in a way because of how the targeting works. I don't want to self-sabotage myself with this new position, but the only reason I'm documenting what took place in orientation, and very briefly, right, and very vaguely, but I am documenting a few things that took place in orientation because I finally did have a reaction to what was taking place and got gaslit about it when I left the orientation with the gang stalkers. So I am going to talk about it. Because I can't believe they were actually doing that. I couldn't believe I wasn't going to make a video about some of the things that happened in orientation because again, I think I understood what the intent behind it was. But when I had the reaction today and then I see I'm getting gaslit by the gang stalkers and they're running with the reaction, I can't believe they're really doing that. So let me quickly just document what happened, y'all. Like I said, I don't have much time. I get off at 6 and also the batteries are at 17%. And the next two clips you're going to hear, like I said, that this video or this documentation is an add-on to. It's 2 hours of content that's attaching to this one clip here. So I'm trying to really not make this too long. I didn't want the video to be any longer than 2 hours. So anyways, y'all, and by the way, it's so coincidental because what I'm talking about in the next clip directly relates to what happened this week in orientation. And like I said, I made the next clip literally the day before orientation started. I made it on Sunday and orientation has been this whole week, Monday through now. This morning, it's Thursday. So yesterday was Wednesday, the third day of orientation, and the day that I had the reaction to the sensitization that had been in the orientation since Monday. So I went on Monday, right? And for orientation, for the beginning part of it, we're like in this office and we're just going through procedures and policies, etc. Because I am considered, like I said, a member of law enforcement. I'm training to become a peace officer and a corrections officer. So a corrections officer falls under the umbrella of peace officer, and we are a member of law enforcement. Like, we can legally arrest somebody if we see them committing a crime out in public. And actually, we have a duty to act if we see something going wrong in the public. And if we don't act and they find out that we were there, we can actually get in trouble for that. So it's a big deal. It's a serious thing, and they're going through procedures and policies. I'm a cadet right now, and then I'm going to be going to police academy. So it's a serious thing, and this is why I said for this position in particular, I'm not going to be making these videos. But I just had to talk about what happened because, again, I wasn't planning to, but then after I had the reaction, the embarrassing reaction, remember, it's humiliating. All these people are watching me. But not only that, it's a matter of protecting myself too with the false narrative. This is where this video is being made, and it will be the first and last video I make about this job. I'm not going to be doing this. But anyway, so this whole week, I've been in this office, right? And thank the Most High for my orientation. Because it took so long for me to hear back from them, my orientation fell at a time where no one else is in orientation. Right? There's one other guy on the other island, the neighboring island. Remember, I told you I live in the United States Virgin Islands, and that's a series of islands that belong to the U.S. We're U.S. territory, so we're considered a part of America, but we're not in the United States. Well, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, because there's also the British Virgin Islands, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, we have 3 islands. There's St. John, St. Thomas, and St. Croix. I'm in St. Croix, as I've told you all. There is an officer that's in training with me that's in St. Thomas. He's in the other island, and so he's usually on the Teams. I should know this. I used Teams for COVID when I was teaching. He's on the Teams call with me in the morning, right? And it's just the 2 of us training, and then we have different instructors. Sometimes they're over on his end. Sometimes they're in the room with me, right? But it's been more so on his end that the trainers are in his room, right? And not really. I had a brief interaction day before yesterday with one of the trainers where she was in the room with me for a short amount of time. But yesterday was when she was really in the room with us for the whole morning, and that was where the awkward reaction happened. And again, it was due to sensitization, and then they actually tried to gaslight me about it. I can't believe they really are doing that. So anyways, on Monday, that first day, and I'm trying to hurry up, y'all. Remember, I told you I don't have much time. And I shouldn't even really be making this video, but I have a right to defend myself because of what's taking place. Right? So on Monday, and it's been rough, y'all, because remember I told you I'm working every night this week, right? I got a lot of hours with security. I'm actually requesting one of the nights off. I did request to get one of the nights off. Now that I'm doing this other job, I'm trying to do both of them at the moment. But this job here, this day job, it's Monday through Friday, and it's a real 9 to 5. It's actually 8 to 5, right? So the orientation, it falls within those same time periods, So I've been really exhausted, y'all. So that's also playing a part in things and why it was harder to control my PTSD reaction to programming and sensitization. Same thing I'm going to be talking about in the next clip. And coincidentally, I made that clip, like I said, before the orientation. So it just kind of fell in line perfectly. What happened is I went on Monday, right? And so all day long we're in this room and we're just going over documents and procedures. And there are sometimes an instructor in my room, like I said, and we're on a Zoom call. So it's me on this Zoom call with, not Zoom, I keep saying Zoom, Teams call with the cadet in St. Thomas. Him and I are in training together, and he's in a room similar to the one I'm in. And in his room, there's a woman that's constantly there. She's been there every day of orientation in his room. And in my room, like I said, it's not an everyday thing. It's an off and on thing where sometimes an instructor will come in the room with me. Now, y'all know I'm targeted. All these people are staring at me. Even with the orientation, the whole island is privy. They get to watch it like it's a movie. And I'm being sensitized. And I know that I'm being stared at by all these people. I'm also hearing noises in the background, like the noise campaign plane flying overhead, in addition to other noises, right? I'm hearing that. And they don't expect me to act awkward. And they've been seeing me act awkward in my house with the targeting too. It's the same thing. It's no different. Anyway, so that's not an issue. It wasn't the acting awkward. It was the reaction that I had yesterday that they tried to run with, and why I'm now making a video, because I was not planning to make a video about this orientation. With all the sensitization and stuff, I understood the message they were trying to convey with what they were doing. I thought I understood, right? Oh my God, now the garbage truck is pulling up. So irritating. Y'all don't even understand the level of noise campaign they be doing on me, this garbage truck around this time. It's so irritating, and now that I'm doing this video. Let me roll my windows up. So anyways, y'all, let me try to hurry up and get through this though. The time is going by very quickly. So anyways, so Monday we were in there, and it was just all day long, showing us different PowerPoints and slides with different procedures and policies. It's very grueling if you're already somebody that's coming from no sleep, working a whole 8-hour shift at night, and then going straight to this second shift with no rest, and then having to go through all these policies and procedures for hours on end. It's really hard, but I'm doing it because I really want the position, right? So I'm not complaining about that, and I understand that this is a part of becoming a law enforcement officer or a corrections officer. I get it. I understand. I'm not complaining. I've been very respectful. I've been mannerful. I've been cooperative. I've been participating, etc. Right? Despite everything. And I haven't gotten angry either about anything, because, again, I understood the intent behind the sensitization. So the first day, they're going through the policies. I noticed we're watching, right, one of the PowerPoints. We're going through different slides about different workplace scenarios. They're talking about like fire safety, for instance. That's one of the segments we went over. I'm just giving you examples. Another one is violence in the workplace, or sexual harassment in the workplace. Now think about the false narrative that they created from the text message, spitefully to make me feel accused. And think about the trauma that I have from 2 years at this point. I've been targeted for 4 years, since 2020. But 2022 was when shit hit the fan. That was the year, remember, if you listen to my story, where I tried to relocate off island because the targeting had been going on for 2 years and hadn't stopped. I didn't know I was a target at the time. I just knew I came home after graduating, after getting my bachelor's degree, moved home to teach, sent a text message that same summer to the people in my close circle, and then weird things started to happen after I sent that text message. Now, mind you, prior to sending the text message and prior to moving home, I had just come from the Airbnb situation that I documented, where it was about half a year of me dealing with that weird situation that happened in 3 different Airbnbs. And the text message resembled the incidents that occurred in those Airbnbs. So they know I didn't do anything. You just have people holding grudges that want to create a false narrative. And the reason I'm saying it like that, I'm not talking about the job, because this is how it is. I'll hear noise campaign in the background and get annoyed and start saying stuff, and then it'll sound like that aggression that came into my voice is going towards who I'm documenting about, and it's not. Remember, I just told you I have the garbage truck in the background doing noise campaigns. They're very irritating. And they do this often to me. So this is not a first time thing. And so that's why I said the people holding grudges things. This is not towards the job. Anyway, and it's really towards the gang stalkers, like I said, that tried to gaslight me about the reaction that I finally had to the sensitization that's been being pounded in my head for 8 hours for the last 3 days. Okay? In addition to the last 2 years of sensitization. Anyways, so Monday, all day long, I noticed, like throughout the slides and stuff, they're inserting stuff that has stuff to do with my targeting, like constantly using the word touch. Right? Touching, touch. They keep using that word and throwing it in there to sensitize me. Also the word keys. They're constantly using that word. I forgot what else they're using. The word bullying, constantly using that word too. And the word trust and the word honesty and the word lie. Basically saying that you need to be honest, right? And not, I guess, accuse people or be a bully or whatever it is. But at the same time, even though they threw the word honest in there, then they had this clip, right? They actually had the sexual harassment clip. And this was shared not yesterday, but day before yesterday on Tuesday. So Monday, all day long, they were, inserting the stuff, right? But no, it wasn't Tuesday. It was Monday, right? Let me go and run them over because I can't stand them, They're so irritating to me. I'm telling you, I'm finally reacting. Like, I'm sitting here trying to make this video, and instead of doing their fucking job, they're sitting there on their ass making noises. Every time I speak or every time I breathe, they're slamming something down. And it's just, I think one of them, like I said, there's something that happened when I was in Sunny Isles, when I was working security at the shopping center at night when I was making my video and I was talking about something. And I'm going to talk about that too, right? About, it's kind of like I'm throwing people under the bus sometimes by accident when I'm defending myself. And I'm going to talk about how that kind of didn't make sense when they threw that into the programming, right? Into the orientation, a part that they talked about. I'm going to get there in a second. But I believe that's what the TIFF is, what some of these people here that work for the garbage people. I think so. I'm not sure though. Anyway, so I'm going to get there in a second. Let me finish what I'm saying though. So, mind you, I'm not a bullshit stuck-up person. I have a bachelor's degree. I graduated magna cum laude. And I've worked really big jobs that pay a lot of money, right? And all last year when I couldn't get a job, do you know I went to apply to be a garbage truck worker? That's the kind of person I am. I'm a hard worker. I was willing to work for that company despite all of the credentials that I have. But anyways, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's something else actually that I think is their issue. But I mean, just to tell you though, all the bullshit, they be painting false narratives and stuff. Anyway, so let me continue with what I was saying though. So on Monday, this one set of sensitization, the touching stuff, the key stuff, the sexual harassment stuff, all ladled with stuff. But the real whopper was on Tuesday. No, was it Monday when it happened or was it Tuesday? I can't remember. Throughout Monday and Tuesday, they kept throwing sensitization throughout the orientation, talking about touching and sexual harassment and, stuff like that, right? But also, too, talking about bullying and trusting people and watching the things you say. So then on Tuesday, they had this, it wasn't Tuesday, I believe it was Monday. So I think it was the first day they did this. They played a clip about sexual harassment in the workplace. And in the clip, it was so humiliating because remember how they do the targeting with the shadow networking software where subliminally they're sending stuff about you, right? Or your situation. And so throughout the video, it was like a bunch of stuff. First, they were talking about, people that have no filter. And then they were showing, like a coffee, right? A coffee filter. I guess trying to give you the visual to the figurative language that you should filter yourself. And so they were showing that in a video, there was, this lady that was on the phone and she was being honest, right? So they were being real about the fact that I'm actually an honest person and not a liar. But the problem is that I'm too honest or too real sometimes. And what I say can offend people sometimes. So in the video, the lady was so honest and they said, it's good to be honest, right? But she was saying offensive things. And so they're saying that she was clueless because she was saying offensive things and she thought being honest was good, but she was being clueless and obnoxious in the process with the things she was saying. But then in that same clip, they started showing sexual harassment in the workplace, right? So that was a different clip. They were showing inappropriate behavior in the workplace and then sexual harassment. I'm mixing it up, right? I'm trying to hurry up and rush too, y'all. So anyway, for the sexual harassment segment, they had different clips and they were showing different types of sexual harassment. One was where like if your boss bribes you, like it's called quid quo pro. And that's where, like, let's say someone in a position of power bribes you and says this for that. That's what it means, basically. Like, if you do some sexual favors for me, you'll get a raise. That's quid quo pro, right? So, of course, this is all awkward with the sensitization that's taken place over the last 2 years with my targeting and the false narrative that was intentionally created from the text message, right? Because they say I bear false witness. So that was the reason behind it. If you guys listen to my story, you'll hear the whole rundown. Hopefully you're not new when listening to this video. Like I said, I didn't do the intro I usually do because I did it in the next clip. But I typically tell y'all to check out the links in the description box in the comment section. And there you'll see a comprehensive set of links where you can hear my story and info about the technology used on targets and info about the program. I didn't want to do the intro twice. Remember, I told you I'm making this after. Even though this is the first clip you're hearing, this is an after clip. The next clip you hear is the initial clip I made, and so that's where you're going to hear that intro. Anyway, let me hurry up and rush through, y'all. So check out my story. Don't check out this video if you haven't heard my story, because then you're going to be lost. Obviously, I'm referencing things that I've talked about in prior videos. So there's an element of PTSD and trauma because of what took place when I tried to leave Island in 2022, the targeting blowing up, the excessive gang stalking, the use of shadow networking software to send me subliminals with false narratives while I'm being stared at by all these people and targeted and gang stalked by all these people. And I had these nasty reactions, right? But now there's this element of sensitization when it comes to sexual harassment, rape, children, females. They purposely painted this false narrative to malign me as retribution for what they call bearing false witness. When if you listen to my story, you'll hear that there was no malicious intent behind anything that I said or did. And I truly believed the things that I was saying when I said them, right? And listen to the thing. You can hear that I only actually truly bared false witness once. I only bared false witness once, y'all. This was back in my early 20s, right? With this cyberbullying guy. That was the only time I bared false witness where I thought he was setting me up and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of led to this situation where I was cyberbullied for years. That was prior to my targeting, right? So I kind of got a taste of targeting before my targeting, but it was nothing in comparison to targeting. Like that was small fries compared to targeting. Anyway, in these other scenarios where they say I bared false witness, I didn't actually bear false witness if you listen to my story. But I did insinuate things that I wasn't certain were true. Things that I truly believe, like 2 things that I truly believed was true. One thing about my roommate, thinks she might have done witchcraft on me. And then the whole text message thing in the first place, what I texted the people in my close circle about. I didn't accuse them, I asked a question. If the punishment is going way too far and it's really not that serious. It's just not making sense. Anyway, y'all, so this is what that narrative was created for. They created this horrible narrative, and then, things happened when I tried to relocate in 2022 that caused PTSD and trauma. And so now oftentimes I'll have these anxious reactions to the sensitization that was created from the text. In other words, females, children, I feel awkward around, and sometimes I'll have these anxious reactions when I see that sensitization, right? And so they run with these anxious reactions when they're actually programming the thing into my brain. And actually, since making these videos, I haven't been having those reactions nowhere near as much. It's rare. That's why I think I was even offered the job, because I was able to prove my point. But at the same time now, it's still like I can still have these reactions. I haven't completely healed myself. I still have trauma and PTSD. I'm still targeted. I'm still being stared at by all these people. So yeah, I'm human. And there will still be anxious reactions sometimes. Especially in a high stress situation where it's a new job. It's a decent position. I'm sitting here trying to learn. I'm now in a room by myself sometimes with the instructor, even though we're on a Teams call. Like I said, with this other cadet in the neighboring island and the other instructor. It still feels awkward. It's been forever since I've been in a classroom setting, first of all. And second of all, now since being targeted and sensitized and traumatized, it's a different feeling, man. It feels awkward. I know my thoughts can be heard. One set of sensitization and stimuli in the orientation. And I know that everyone's staring at the whole interaction like it's a movie. I mean, they had to know I was going to have an anxious reaction. They had to know that was going to happen. And the gang stalkers, I can't believe they're gaslighting me about this. Like, I'm trying to really run with that as if you didn't see what happened. I know what you're doing. So anyways, so I feel like they were just doing it to teach me a lesson before actually getting in the position. Like, watch your words, watch what you say, stop offending people, don't bear false witness. This is what it feels like to be accused. I get it. It's been 4 years. I get it. Let's stop now. I get it. It's just like this extended, like, humiliation. It almost feels like public lynching type thing is what it feels like. So anyways, and a lot of the things that I said that were offensive, that I'm getting hung at the cross for were said out of anger. It was reactive abuse to being targeted for sending a simple text, an innocent text 4 years ago. It's not like I have a history of sharing these things or saying the offensive things I said. And the whole reason I started making videos was to defend myself. For the first 2 years of the targeting, I did not make a video. I tried to leave Island is what I did. To start over elsewhere because I didn't do anything. And the thing followed me and blew up. So I came home and I had no other choice but to speak and advocate for myself. I am my own lawyer. And I get gaslit about making these videos. I don't understand it. I'm confused. Anyway, so I am truly clueless. I'm not gonna lie, I do feel clueless. Anyway, so back to what I was saying though. I need to hurry up, y'all. I gotta go. It's 5:46. Not gotta go. It's not time to go yet. But I mean, I gotta go with this video. I gotta hurry up. I just want to quickly document what happened. I don't want to make a super long video. Anyway, so my head is hurting me too, y'all. They were humming on me all night. It's just gonna be a rough day today. Thank God it's Friday. So after this, I get to rest. Obviously I don't do the 9 to 5 on the weekend. So it's just the night shift I'll have to focus on. Anyway, y'all, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. So let me try to finish. So anyway, a bunch of sensitization. They get to that clip where they're talking about sexual harassment. They're going through the different types. The quid quo pro, that didn't resonate. Obviously, I'm not in a position of power, and there's no false narrative of me propositioning anyone for sex, or vice versa, me being propositioned for sex. Although they do also with the targeting. That's another false narrative to make me feel low on myself. They do try to accuse me of sexually objectifying myself and being like a prostitute or a succubus. They do throw that at me. But that's gaslighting as well. Because I don't know why I would hear somebody beat their horn for that. A prostitute and a succubus, because I go to the gym to work out. And my body's completely covered. I wear leggings and a t-shirt. Meanwhile, they're sending all these young females in the gym. And I don't know if they're always sending them. Sometimes these females might just be coming in there. They know the cameras are in there. Maybe they want a moment for everybody to, how it is when you're young. Maybe you want to just be on camera and, flounce up your stuff. I don't know what it is, really. But there are a lot of females in the gym that be coming in there, not just young. Sometimes females in my age range. In sports bras and short little pom-pom shorts. Or a sports bra and a leggings. And there are a lot of women that dress like that. And a lot of these fitness influencer videos, you see women dressing like that. This is a liberal time. I'm not even doing that. Right now, I have results from working out for about a year. If I wanted to put on a little short pom-pom shorts and show off my legs and the results that I have gotten from working out, I could do it. I don't. I wear leggings and I wear a t-shirt. I'm completely covered up, but I'm being a succubus and I'm being thirsty and a this and that. It's all a part of the false narratives. Just trying to, again, make me feel accused and come for my self-esteem. And also trying to deter me from working out. Anyway, and I'm not, again, directing this energy towards a job. Definitely not. There's Noise Campaign, as usual, actively interacting with me as I'm making the video. And that's what leads to the hostile response. Anyway, especially when there's an element of gaslighting. That's all they do. Gaslight. It's exhausting. And I'm dealing with this 24/7. I want my life back. I'm tired of it. I didn't do anything. I don't deserve this. It's unfair. Anyway, so the next thing is, it's crazy. They keep throwing it to me like I'm an attention seeker and I like attention, but they won't take the cameras off me. They could easily take, how bad I want that? They could easily take the cameras. They won't do it. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say now though. So in this slide with the sexual harassment thing, oh boy, they went in, boy. So after the quid quo pro, of course that didn't relate to me or resonate. Then they start talking about like this guy basically that was coming on to this girl over and over again and not getting the hint. And that wasn't really for me, but then I did kind of hear like Noise Campaign in the background when the guy was like aggressively coming at her and, trying to act like this hot shot and she didn't want him. And so then they said that the advances are unwanted. I heard Noise Campaign in the background of the plane flying overhead. And so I'm just like, huh? I didn't understand that because I'm so to myself, even with the targeting. Like, I'm going to work, of course, because I want to work. And I've always been a hardworking woman. I'm going to the gym because I want to work out and take care of my body. And it's one of the things that I found has helped me mentally. One of the best escapes I've found is working out. And I've already shown y'all evidence that I've always been into athletics and working out throughout the years. So this is not new to me. Anyways, it was also to heal my body, like I told you all, because of what happened to me last year. But what I suspect to have been energy weapon attacks. Radiation, though. Not just what they do now where they use the machine that hums in my ear and makes me nauseous or makes me get a headache sometimes. I mean, serious, what I suspect to have been energy weapon attacks last year. They were even hinting it to me with the shadow networking software. Like I told you on prior videos about radiation and poisoning, and I'd gotten skinny. So it was to reverse damage. It was to build up my muscles that had started to atrophy I had gotten so skinny. And then, yes, also to heal my mind and build my body back. I wanted my body back. I'm a young woman. I'm only 32. I'm making 33 next month, if the most I spares my life. So, yes, I want to work out. What's the big deal? Just because the cameras are on me doesn't mean I'm not going to live my life and do the things I've always done. And that doesn't make me thirsty or a succubus. If I'm wearing little short pants, right, and my stuff is hanging out, then maybe you can say that. I'm fully covered. And actually, a lot of the women I'm going around in the gym, not all of them, but a lot of them are coming in there like with little short stuff on. And they're not making any type of big deal about that. In fact, they enjoy it because they want to sensitize me with the craziness. And it's not working. It doesn't work anymore. But now today now it's yesterday at this point, I had a reaction, and it's like they tried to run with it, even though it was like literally 3 days of straight programming with the orientation. So anyways, so after that scene with the hotshot guy, and they said, unwanted advances is a form of sexual harassment, and then I heard the noise campaign in the background. I'm like, what are they talking about? I don't come on to anybody. If anything, I have documented this already, y'all. They do have guys purposely trying to make eye contact with me, and I don't know if all of them are doing that and a part of this thing, right? Or if some of them are genuinely looking. I don't know. I don't want to bear false witness, right? But I do know for certain, I'm a pretty good judge of character. I can tell the ones that are really gang stalking. It's the ones that are overtly like making it a show of checking me out and staring me down in my eyes and trying to get eye contact. And that hasn't really been the case recently, especially since I've talked about it. But that was more so happening at the beginning of the year when I first started working out in the gym. It's not really something that's happened recently. I've gotten people staring at me, but I know it's because I'm a target. And everyone knows who I am. It's not like the beginning of the year where it was like you had dudes purposely trying to make eye contact with me and, doing weird stuff that was obvious. It's like you're insulting my intelligence at this point. It feels like you're patronizing me. Like either you're, like purposely taunting me and doing that, I guess, to try and make me feel like intimidated, or you really are insulting my intelligence if you think that I thought that was genuine. So anyways, that's not happened in a long time. So I'm not really, talking about that. But if anything, that's what's happened. They haven't harassed me. It's not like they've come around. I've had some say a few words to me, but it's not like I would say sexual harassment. Not at all. But it certainly isn't me. I stay to myself, and I know they know that. So I didn't understand that part where they're making noise campaign for that. I didn't get that at all. I understood the third part where they were trying to sensitize me and create the false narrative. I understood that third part, and it was humiliating. Where they're showing this creepy old guy with glasses, like he looked like your typical pedophile, your neighborhood pedophile is what he could have passed for, the way he looked. He was playing the hell out of that role, and he's talking to this young girl, right? And they purposely put the plaid on her, right? And they're supposed to be in this work setting, and while he's talking to her, he's staring down at her titties, right? While they're having this conversation. It was so embarrassing. Because they know what happened to me when I tried to relocate in 2022. Remember that video I've shared, right? And I told you guys I knocked down that narrative. But they still pushed the narrative again, I guess just to make me feel accused and also to let me see, I guess, what bullying feels like. Even though my bullying was reactive abuse to being bullied. That's the crazy thing about it. But anyway, let me show y'all. Hit me to click on it. It's this video, y'all. Sharing stimuli used to sensitize me. And you see the guy bending over the little black panty pants on. Remember I told y'all what happened with my niece in 2022 when I tried to relocate, and all of those things happened where they were using the shadow networking software on me to paint the false narrative about the text message. And I started to get programmed and sensitized to females and the false narrative that they started to create with the technology. And then I was having these anxious responses because as they're sending me the sensitization, all these people around, droves and droves of people in vehicles driving around staring at me and revving by when they're putting this on. So I'm breathing funny and having these anxious reactions. I don't have them anymore. Not like what was happening before. Oh yeah, I done healed myself from this thing. And then I come here to this orientation and I get sensitized like crazy over the last 3 days. But again, I understood the intent behind the sensitization. It was the gaslighting about me finally having a reaction that I couldn't take and what led to the video. So anyways, this is what they were trying to play off of. So, there was this thing where after all that sensitization and, them speeding by in vehicles and programming, and creating the false narrative the way they were doing, and I didn't know about the technology yet. I didn't even know I was a target. The targeting had just gone viral, like literally overnight. And so I was dealing with all this crazy activity, way worse than anything I had experienced on island prior to leaving. And I was trying to assimilate and deal with that. And I was being sensitized. I was dealing with PTSD trauma. It was just horrible. So then one day I went to the house. Like I said, I've told the story. Watch the video, y'all. I'm not about to tell the story again here. But something happened with my niece, right? Where basically she bent over in the toy box to grab a toy. She came out from the back. And as soon as she came out from the back, everyone in the neighborhood was already revving by. Not everyone, but there were a bunch of vehicles that revved by. Rum, rum, rev campaign outside. And they had already been creating the narrative, and I had been having these anxious responses. So at that point, I was actually scared of my nieces. And I was scared of children. I was that sensitized, didn't do a thing. So I'm sitting there. She comes out from the back room, my two nieces. And as soon as they came out, I got the stiff kind of way because they revved by in the neighborhood. And I got awkward. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even want to look at them. I was so traumatized. And so my niece comes on in this little short-ass black pants that my sister would never ordinarily let her wear. So I feel like the whole scenario was possibly staged. And I think because I was having these anxious reactions in my vehicle in Florida, I think my sisters and them actually started to truly believe I had done something. I really do. I think before it was a trolling thing, before I left island. And then when I got to Florida and they started using the shadow networking software, I hadn't learned about it yet. And I was having all these anxious reactions in my vehicle, despite them knowing what happened in the Airbnb and stuff. I think they truly started to believe I actually had done something. This is why I said things will never be the same with us. It's just a lot of stuff that took place. I don't want to go into details about it right now. Even things I think they actually believed for a time. I can't fathom it. So anyways, the kids are coming out from the back room, right? And I started to already get like this stiff, awkward way, and they're revving by like crazy. And my niece is in this little short ass pants. I've seen her naked. I've bathed her. I helped raise her. But I was feeling awkward and sensitized at this point, dealing with this horrible false accusation. So then she bends over in the toy box to get her toy, and I hid my face. And they revved by even more, and they ran with that moment. And that was one of the main moments that they were using to paint the false narrative about the text message until I came home. And I learned I was a target, and I started making videos and doing research and refutation and articulation and defending myself. This video, they knocked it down 3 times because they did not want me to post this and knock down that narrative they were using. That was one of the main things they were using to push a false narrative. Whoever's controlling the technologies. There's a lot of people involved in my targeting. People in the mainland, etc. And they're upset with me and almost want to see me pinned up, a lot of them, because I shared offensive stuff in reaction to illegal targeting and trauma and PTSD and abuse. Real abuse. That was the abuse, the true abuse that took place, what happened to me. So anyways, so that's basically where that comes from. That thing where they're, they purposely paint this false narrative of looking or being a pervert or, all this horrible stuff that's just not true. It's PTSD and trauma. That's what it was. And they knocked this video down 3 times and blatantly lied too. The first time they knocked it down, they said it was because I was talking about vaccines and the WHO, World Health Organization. What's this? Y'all, it's for the first time ever since working this poll, somebody's here at the gate. So I'll finish this video, y'all. I'm going to finish this video. Anyway, y'all, so just finishing up the video. So that same video that I was on in the last clip, though, right? With the bend over, thumbnail and the short pants. They knocked that video down 3 times. They lied and said that I was talking about vaccines in the video, and the WHO, World Health Organization, doesn't approve of whatever stupidness. And I appealed it, and I got the video back. They knocked it down again, said the same message. So I took a screenshot of the message and I peeled it again. And that was when they gave me my video. Finally let me post a video because they did not like me knocking down that narrative. That was literally the main shred of, I guess you could say, evidence. I'm using that term lightly with air quotes, that they had to paint the false narrative, and it was bullshit. That I clearly knocked down in that video. So anyways, though, so that's something that's like, I'm sorry that I'm sounding so hostile, y'all. I try not to. It's just a constant noise campaign in the background. Now I'm here in my neighborhood, y'all. I'm not at work anymore. When I said they lied, I hear revving in the background. They keep insinuating that I'm lying, but again, with the bearing false witness, as I told you all, I've actually only truly done it once. The other two things I did was made insinuations without hard evidence to back up what I was saying. Anyways, y'all, and there was no malicious intent behind it. Anyways, y'all, so that's a thing though. They know I'm sensitized to that though, and so in the presentation for that section, that last part with the guy that I told you guys looked like the neighborhood ped, right? He's staring at the young woman's chest while she's speaking, right? And so, they showed that scenario too and said that too was sexual harassment. Of course, they know what happened with my targeting and that thing with the look thing and looking away, right? And it wasn't that I was staring at that area. What happened is when she bent over, I actually hid my face because of trauma and PTSD. It wasn't a situation where they have me on camera staring at her buttocks, or at her booty, her butt. This sounds inappropriate. Or staring at some private area, or with any female for that matter. All they have is me avoiding and hiding my eyes, if anything, because I'm traumatized and PTSD, but it's a joke thing. It's a joke thing to sensitize me. And again, like this humiliation thing to humble me and also let me see what it feels like to be accused. But oh my goodness, because all these people are watching the orientation. Remember this, right? But anyway, I still just laugh it off, right? I think it's a joke because for me, again, I understood the intent behind the programming. Because in that same clip, they were talking about being clueless and filtering yourself and watching what you say and how you offend people. Then they even had this segment where one of the big government workers here in the VI that's associated with the borough came on, and he was talking about, being careful when you go in there because you're dealing with inmates that have done all sorts of things. And they were talking about, no, wrong thing. I'm saying the wrong thing. Sorry, I'm hearing noise campaign in the background. I'm trying to hurry up and finish this now. He was talking about having an intimate relationship with one of the inmates. And they had a plaid on when they were talking about that in one of the videos too. Like, they know that's something I definitely wouldn't do. First of all, everybody's watching me. I've already had one big scandal happen. I definitely wouldn't do that. And I know they know that too. But again, it was just like sensitization. So anyway, they actually had a guy from the government, from the borough, come on, and he was talking about, don't risk your job, a good job for that, because he said some people come in, he said, to the facility and they put their job in jeopardy to mess with an inmate. They think they found prison yard love is what he said, but he did the symbol with his hand. And remember, they do the symbol sometimes to sensitize me, but I realized shadow networking was being used. I don't even think he really did that. I think it was shadow networking. I realized that in real time, they were shadow networking with a lot of the clips. They were just putting the video up and allowing the shadow networking to do the thing, is what I think was happening. I'm not certain. And then maybe some of it was actually orchestrated and put together. Either way, that's orchestration. But I understood the intent behind it. So he said some people think they found prison yard love. And he did the symbol with his hand. And so I snickered. I laughed because I thought it was funny. I heard noise campaign. Like, me laughing was, there was... I don't want to say too much and create stuff. So I can't say too much about the noise campaign. But I think I was offending someone by laughing when really it was just more so because I saw them do the symbol. It's not that I was laughing at the idea of dating someone in jail. Like, that's not a big deal for me. I wouldn't date someone I'm a correction officer over. That's preposterous to me. But if I were out, now look at them gaslighting with the plane, but just talking about somebody that has a record, I don't think that's a big deal at all. If the person turned their life around and they're a good person, that's not a big deal at all. Like I told you all. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the details about it. I have dated guys that have had records before. There was one guy I dated that had a record. So yeah, I'm not a bougie or stuck up person. But the point is, I'm not going to be dating somebody that I'm working with, that I'm in charge of or that I have authority over. That's just preposterous. That's why I laughed at it and I thought it was ludicrous. Anyway, but in that clip, he then says, again, sensitization. He said, and then, if you do that, you get registered as a sex offender too. Now you're on the list with real sex offenders, like the pedophiles and the rapists. Of course, that's sensitization with the false narrative, and I'm being stared at by all these people. So that was sensitization for me, and that too was humiliating. And he said, think about it. There's 70,000 people in the Virgin Islands. All of them will have access to that sex registry, is what he said. And when I thought about it, I realized in a way too, I think he was hinting at the fact that in my video, I said that I had went over with my, I didn't do this. My mom, she has this habit of looking up the sex offenders in the area. And so when we were in Florida, my sister had purchased this new house, but it was in this rough neighborhood. The same house that I talked about in my full story that she was doing Airbnb out of. And so she has kids, and they were actually staying in the house, right? And renting out the other rooms. And so for safety purposes, my mom did a check of the sex registry of the sex offenders in the area. Because she has a VI number, the sex offenders here in the Virgin Islands popped up instead. And at the time it was targeted. The thing was viral already at the time. It wasn't viral like how it is now. This was before I tried to relocate off island. But a lot of people had access to the cameras before I left island. Just not what it is now. Anyway, so all then when we were looking at the register, we were freaking out because I was seeing a lot of people I had went to school with and stuff. I was just seeing stuff, right? But that's public access. So once you get registered as a sex offender, anybody that looks at the sex registry can see your name and your picture. And so I think what he was insinuating too was that maybe that was even bullying in a way, me mentioning the sex registry in my videos, because then of course a lot of people might not look it up to see for themselves, and then these people can't help that they obviously made the decision they made, and if they turn their life around, then they deserve grace and forgiveness, and they've repented. But I'm just saying, it's like, I'm sure they didn't want the spotlight there, and so in a way, inadvertently, I threw them under the bus. But it's like a catch-22, because you're saying that, but you're not thinking about the fact that exactly 70,000 people in the Virgin Islands are watching, and I'm being watched and accused of this thing I didn't do, and treated this way when I'm just saying it, and I was just trying to point out that there are people that have actually done it that didn't have the spotlight on them. So that was my exact point. But still, I inadvertently then put the spotlight on those people and threw them under the bus. It's just a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing when you're targeted, unfortunately. Anyway, so no. So anyways, that's what it was really. And so I do understand, and I do apologize to those people that I put a spotlight on. I said no. For the interruption, y'all. I want to finish saying what I was saying though. So like I was saying, I do apologize to those people that I put a spotlight on. I'm not trying to come across as stuck up. I'm not trying to come across as somebody that's looking down on anybody that's committed a crime, no matter what the nature of the crime is. Because if you've taken accountability and you've repented and turned your life around, then you deserve that grace. I'm just advocating for myself, and unfortunately, it's like almost like a casualty of war is what those people became, with me trying to prove my point, So anyways, I get it. I understood, right? So all of that was happening though, and even though I understood the sensitization, it was still nonetheless sensitization and creating this awkward feeling within me, and I'm being stared at all these people understand the pressure and hearing noise campaign in the background, like the plane flying overhead, etc. But even still, I wasn't going to make a video about it because I'm grateful for the job. Again, it wasn't until I finally reacted to 3 days of programming and sensitization, and then they ran with it. And when I say they, I'm talking about the gang stalkers outside of the job. That was where I was like, I gotta make it. I can't believe they're actually gonna gaslight the reaction as if they didn't see all the sensitization and programming that just happened for the last 3 days. So anyways, that was said in that video, and then one of the instructors from the borough actually came in the room with me for a few hours for the latter part of that day. And as she's, presenting stuff, she's standing and walking back and forth. And so, of course, now I'm feeling awkward after they just said the look thing, of course, and had the big plaid shirt. You had to know that I would feel awkward now if you bring any woman. It doesn't matter what the age, elderly, young, middle age. I already said this in one of my prior videos. They have sensitized me so much to women. Any female can come around me, attractive, unattractive, young, old, middle age, skinny, fat. I don't mean to use the word fat. I'm just, that is a word. Or there are different, everything I say is a problem, y'all. I'm just saying, no matter what kind of woman it is, I have been so sensitized that I just feel uncomfortable around women in general. That's how sensitized I am. I just need you to understand that. And I actually got better. Like over time, I've gotten better to the point where they're sending like real sensitization, like women that look young, younger females around me. I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing at it. They had an actual child. I told you guys this in one of the recent videos by the register when I was shopping one day. Just they're standing there, no parent around, but I'm seeing a lot of people staring at us like they were expecting some sort of reaction. And so I just smiled at the baby, and in my head I thought, whose cute little girl is this just hanging around with no parent? And I said, what is this? And I just left the store, and I didn't have the reaction. This was before the orientation, actually about a week or two before it. Now this thing happens here where I'm getting reprogrammed, and I won't even say reprogrammed because I've been programmed for the last 2 years. It's the same thing. But now there's a level of angst because it's a serious position. All these people are staring at me, and then they're actually playing real sensitization in this moment while I'm sitting here trying to get a position in law enforcement. I need you to understand that and where the angst comes from. So anyway, so she came in the room though, and she, one thing she kept doing more than anything else was she would just rub her nose down for certain things, but then also pulling her shirt down, constantly pulling her shirt down in this certain kind of way. And they had just said the thing about looking and making people uncomfortable. So of course that created a feeling of discomfort in me. But somehow, by the grace of the Most High, I was not acting awkward at first. I still kept maintaining eye contact, or even I felt extremely uncomfortable, because she had despite that happening, a very comforting, like nice kind of personality. I can't really explain it. It's just one of those people you would feel comfortable around ordinarily had it been a normal circumstance. But with the circumstance, it's just like, it's still just discomfort, straight up discomfort. And so it's just like, I pushed through that first day, and even the second day, and I didn't have a reaction. The second day she didn't come in. It was just that first day, and she was only with us for like 2 hours, right? So I pushed through the discomfort I was feeling after they had played all that stuff on the video, and I heard the plane flying overhead and all this stuff like that. Day 2 comes still more sensitization, the constant pushing of the word touch. And when they were talking about the keys and identifying the keys, they said you need to identify the keys by touch, all day long for 8 hours, right? So yesterday, day 3, it was a whole day of that again, but from the morning, early in the morning, that same lady came in the room, right? So she's going over this stuff. I'm still not reacting or anything. And she and I are interacting. She's in front of the class. So I'm watching her. I'm feeling awkward, very awkward, playing it off well. And then she said something. There was something mind you, throughout this thing, the word touch was being used constantly still. But then she would also follow it up with trust and watching what you say and bullying. So I understood the intent, like I said, behind it. I wasn't going to make a video about it. But then she said something. There was something she was going over that wasn't even like intentional sensitization. But again, it was just programming. And I've already talked about this. When your brain is being programmed like that 24/7, eventually you just get sensitized to things, and things will pop in your head and you'll feel uncomfortable in moments where you don't even realize why. And it's because of the constant programming and the high stress environment of being stared at and, trying to get this good position of law enforcement while you're fighting this false narrative. Even if it's been turned into some sort of mockery and joke, I still have PTSD and trauma. I still have unresolved PTSD from that I'm healing from. And I've successfully healed my own self from it. But then here we go again. Here in the orientation, these things are being presented again. I understood the intent behind it, but it sensitized me. So she said something, I can't even remember what she said. It was something she was reading about the procedures when we get into prison, the things that we're going to do. One thing that sensitized me, she said the word photograph. I got awkward. That was one thing I got awkward for. When I actually knocked on the photograph thing last year, y'all, that had something to do with the false narrative about witchcraft that they threw at me because of what I said about my roommate and my full story. Never accused the girl, never even said who she was. I simply said I suspect she might have done something, and I talked about why I felt that way. Never hardcore accused the girl, and I never said who she was. But they started painting the false narrative amongst many others. This was one of them, that I did witchcraft. Yah forbid, I rebuke it in the name of Yeshua. No, I did not. Anyway, so I talked about what I did do last year, and the only thing I did do stupidly, foolishly, and they saw me do it, and I've talked about and admitted doing this, I downloaded a return to sender book, which again, I've said this in several videos. is a book that if you feel like, and really what you need to pull out is the Bible, not a return to sender book, but I had been reading the Bible and praying and I felt like I wasn't getting help. So I got desperate and I lost faith. But anyways, a return to sender book is basically a book of white magic, not black magic. And it's basically white magic spells to get black magic off of you. So black magic is basically a spell done to harm somebody. White magic is a spell that's done, it's not done to harm anyone. It's basically a spell done to reverse or take off black magic if you mess with those things, and I do not dabble in those things. This was the first time I had ever even come close to dabbling in that type of those type of things, and it's because I was just so certain that there was witchcraft on me. It was all the things that was happening that didn't make sense to me. This extreme harsh punishment for sending a text. The way that the thing unfolded, it just felt like witchcraft. It really did. And I'm not gonna lie, even now I'm not accusing anybody, but it still kind of feels like that. Something weird is going on. I don't know what it is, but I don't want to give it power anymore, even if it is whatever, you know? Anyway, and I grew up in a household where we were taught that those things are real. I had a grandmother who used to tell us stories. She was from Trinidad. You know, so when you're taught these things growing up, you hold these things true, and that becomes a part of what you perceive to be true. You believe that those things really exist if you're taught and you grow up in that type of culture and environment. Anyway, so whatever it is, so that's when they started throwing that thing at me, and I was doing research back then too, and I came across things that talked about when someone puts on you, they use photographs, and there's this girl named Nikisha Wise that I was heavily watching last year. I knocked down the photograph thing, and I knocked down the other thing. What was the other thing? It was the naked thing, because I was saying that there's something to nakedness too. Like if you notice you're being humiliated and seen naked, that's a major sign that someone did witchcraft on you. And so I'm not trying to paint that narrative again, y'all. I'm just trying to talk about where the stupid photograph thing came from. So in Nikisha Wise's video, she was talking about photographs and nakedness. And so then later, months later, I had been watching a video where they were sending the shadow networking about photographs, and I got awkward. And so then they started sensitizing me to photographs. Now, recently I had gotten over that. I haven't had a reaction, but because I'm sitting here in this room being sensitized to all these things, and I know all these people are staring at me, and I'm feeling anxious, and I kept hearing, noise in the background, like mainly the plane. I got awkward. I got awkward to the photograph thing. They inserted purposely the Mark of the Beast number in there, purposely, again, to sensitize me. These are just all things they're doing just, again, to let me see what it feels like to be accused. Inserting the sexual predator thing, pushing that too. So I got awkward for several things. It wasn't just the thing that I got awkward for with the lady that was in front of the class instructing. Mind you, before I had gotten in the room with her, while I was sitting outside waiting for them to come and open the office, they started to shadow network heavily on purpose to create that awkward disposition. I was watching a video. I was watching House, that same House show that I was talking about. You're going to hear me talking about in the next clip. And this lady came out with this plunging neckline. Like she had mad cleavage showing for a doctor. Like that didn't even look professional. You could tell it was shadow networking. And so House told her, he said, "Hey, you're looking sexy today." He said, "I'm trying not to look down." That's what he said. And she did the smile, this demure smile. And she's like, well, something, I can't remember what she said, right? But it was obvious shadow networking. I said, why would they send this and they know I'm about to go in this room, right? And deal with the instructor. They already know what was played on the video. On day 2, I think it was, or day 1, like I told you guys about not looking down and trying to push that false narrative about the short pants thing. They knew what they were doing. And so now again, I guess because it didn't work initially, the initial sensitization, I didn't act awkward about it, although I felt awkward. So now here in day 3, I finally had the reaction, and not immediately either. She was in front of the classroom. I was watching her, interacting with her, and it was something she said. I can't remember what it was. This actually wasn't intentional sensitization. It's funny. They were inserting all this sensitization, and I wasn't acting awkward. And then she was going over one of the things in the drill that we're supposed to do, and it made me so uncomfortable. Like, I started to get so awkward. I don't know why it made me so uncomfortable and awkward, but I just started getting weird and awkward. And so then, she noticed it too. I saw her notice it. And so she was trying to play it off. And then she went, she rubbed her nose down. Like that was what kept happening whenever I would actually have a reaction. So she also did that when I had a reaction to the photograph sensitization. And then someone from the office came in too and took a photograph of the screen to see if the internet was working. So it was just these little things that create sensitization. And again, I understood the intent behind it. But it finally sensitized me to the point where I had an anxious reaction and I felt like I couldn't even watch her comfortably. Like I got visibly uncomfortable. And it was to the point where she eventually went behind the computer to instruct the course because I think she saw that I had gotten uncomfortable and awkward and it created this awkward, environment in the room, man. And so it's just like, it's just rough, y'all. It's rough. But instantly when I left, the gang stalker started to try to simulate because of me finally having that reaction. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, y'all saw what happened these last 3 days. You're purposely now, I didn't even have an instant reaction. It took 3 days. On day 3 where I have the reaction, you're going to gaslight me about it? I couldn't believe it. And this is why I made the video, because I wasn't going to make a video about it. I understood, again, the intent behind the programming. I understood. But it was the gaslighting about me having an anxious reaction and almost seeming like they were trying to run with it. The gang stalkers is what led to me making this clip here. I'm like, are you serious? So anyway, I even got to the gym. All of a sudden, there's this little girl with this little sports bra and short pants on. Several times she interacted with me while I was in the gym. While I'm doing my one area I was at, she was near me. Then I went to do my squats on the squat machine. She's in that area. She even asked me to move off of the machine that was right behind me that I always sit on to catch my breath when I'm doing my squats. It was just like obvious. She was obvious. I don't know for sure, but it seemed like she was a gang stalker. I'm not certain. And there was another thing. There was this guy, I've seen him before too. They actually tried to sensitize me to him, right? Because there was a time he came in. This was months prior. I don't even want to make a video about him. But it was months prior. He had came into the gym. And this was one of those evenings where I went to, I think it was afternoon, actually, I was in there. And he came to the door and he actually looked like somebody I knew, right? So, the name's popping in my head. I'm trying not to let the name pop in my head. Remember, my thoughts are being projected. And so that's why I did a double take. And of course, they're watching everything I'm doing. And so I think they thought it was a thirsty moment or he was something that I liked. And I noticed after that moment, after they should have paid attention, after I did the double take and realized it wasn't who I thought it was, then I lost interest. And then, not to say lost interest, he's an attractive guy. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm not checking dudes in the gym like that. I'm just not. It's not that type of thing. It's just a weird situation. I'm targeted. I'm not checking for dudes right now. I'm really not. So anyways, after I saw what I saw, I turned my head and I lost interest. They all of a sudden I'm seeing the dude like every day and he's making eye contact with me and doing all this extra stuff. And when he was coming out the gym one day, he was talking about how all these girls like him and this and that to his friend. I'm just like, oh my God, what craziness is this? I'm just like, what is going on? He was saying something, not exactly all these girls like him. He was saying something about something he was talking about with this girls that liked him or something like that. And so I was just, what? So now today, I haven't seen him since because they started trying to use him as a gang stalker and I immediately made a video about it and talked about why I did the double take. And then I stopped seeing him. They stopped trying to use him. But now this is the first time I've seen him in months, really, since I now have to go in the evening time. Remember, my gym time keeps changing. Now that this thing is happening, this orientation thing, I've been going in the evening time. It's been real difficult, but I've been pushing myself and doing it, y'all. Working 2 shifts, 2 full shifts back to back and then going and working on lifting heavy weight. I'm doing it. Anyway, so he's in front of the mirror. He's dancing and purposely blocking the mirror. They know when I use that machine that I need the mirror. As soon as I get to the machine, he stands up and he's in the mirror dancing. So I said, not tonight. I'm not going to have a reaction, right? I put the weight down and I went and I started doing my hack squats and my leg presses because I needed to do that anyways. So I was going to do it after the Smith machine, but I said, you know what, let me just do it now. As a matter of fact, I had already done my leg presses, but I hadn't done my hack squats and I was going to do it after. So I said, let me just do it now. So I go over and I start doing my hack squats instead since he was blocking the mirror intentionally, is what it seemed like, but let me not bear false witness. I start to do the hack squats. I see the man watching me hard. I'm like, what is going on? And then up behind him comes this next dude, right? Some tall, kind of Humpty Dumpty looking dude. I'm not trying to be mean or disrespectful, right? Because he's not an unattractive guy, right? When I say Humpty Dumpty, he just looked kind of clumsy. Not a bad looking guy again, but just kind of like had this clumsy appearance. I can't explain it. Like it reminded me of, this is why I got turned, where I had the bitchy reaction. This is where they call me bully and gaslight me, because someone will do something that's bullying first and they clearly see that what they're doing is bullying and that they're actually painting a false narrative because they know full well why I moved over to the hack squat machine. It's because the mirror was blocked. It's not because I'm trying to give him a show. Right? So I move over to the hack squat machine. The dude start watching me, and then the next dude walks up to him with a bottle of water and keeps sipping the water and talking to him and sipping the water, right? So that pissed me off. So I looked at him and I said, Sharifa, I said, not tonight. And I didn't say it immediately. They kept standing there talking in front of the mirror. And I'm purposely doing the hack squats until to give him time to move from in front of the mirror. They're talking. And the other guy just kept sipping the water. And that's what triggered the bitchy response. And then he was, it's like, again, not a bad looking guy, because I'm real. If he was bad looking, I just wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't say he's not bad looking. I wouldn't say that. I just wouldn't have said anything at all, to be real with you. He's really not bad looking. Like, the face is not unattractive or anything. But he did kind of have, like, this clumsy appearance. I can't really explain it. And something about how he looked just reminded me of Squirtle. Right? And when he's sipping the water, I just kept thinking Pokemon. And I just kept saying Squirtle. And I'm just like, dude, in my head, I'm like, you're sipping this water every 5 seconds, and I feel like the next step is for you to squirt me. You look like Squirtle. I said, Pokemon. In my head, I can't control it when these reactions start happening, especially when you're bullying me first, and then they'd be glaring at me when I go out there like I'm a bitch, when I'm just responding to you. Bullying me first, it's always a response. It's just that I'm better at being a bitch than the person that's being a bitch to me. That's all it is. And I keep trying to control it and not do it. I'm like, okay, it's reactive abuse. Don't do it. Don't do it, Sharifa. Don't do it.
You're being loud though.
Okay. I'm like, reactive abuse, Sharifa. Don't do it. Don't react. I keep telling myself, don't do it. Don't react. Because you know what's going to happen. It's going to be you that gets painted as the monster. Don't do it. I keep telling myself, don't do it. Right? I couldn't help it. Like, I had a very long day. I had the reaction today, remember, in the training. And then they started to gaslight, the girl walking around, the little short thing that actually even interacted with me and made me get up from the machine that I was sitting on, to rest. So I'm at this point exhausted and in reaction mode. I'm like, don't react though. I didn't even tell them to do nothing, dancing in the mirror and all this extra stuff, got up in front of the mirror as soon as I start using the machine. So I go over to the other machine. I'm like, I'm not going to tell them nothing. Right? So I'm just using the machine, and then that guy comes, that other guy came over and starts sipping the water and stuff. And that was where the reaction happened. And then the way he looked, I just instantly envisioned Squirtle from Pokemon. That's not a major insult. Something about his appearance was giving me Squirtle, especially when he was sipping that water the way he was sipping it. And so I just started going Pokemon in my head. And then finally he stopped sipping the water and they both moved out the way. I realized they moved after I thought that thought. So I was able to use the machine successfully. And that was it. I just wanted to document it, but I'm just like, I couldn't believe they were running with certain narratives. And then also I just remember that little moment that happened there in the gym, and I just wanted to talk about it. Because I did feel, again, like it's just one of those things I'll run with and make it like I was being a bitch when it was reactive abuse as usual. Anyways, gaslighting. Anyways, so that's it, y'all. I'll talk to you in the next one. I just want to document that, y'all. I won't be making any more videos about this job. I don't play that. And this is a law enforcement position. Like I told you, I can't play that. But I wanted to advocate for myself because they actually were trying to run with my reaction to programming. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, talk to you in the next one. Peace out. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Sharifa, and my poetry name is New Lily. If you're new to my channel, please check out the links located in the description box and the comment section. And in both locations, you'll find an identical set of links that lead to videos that talk about what started the targeting in 2020, as well as links that lead to videos that share information about the targeted individual program, information about the technology utilized on targets, info about the tactics utilized on targets, and just info about the targeted individual program in general, y'all. It's been 4 years, like I said, of targeting. So the thing started in 2020, but I didn't learn that I was a target until 2 years into my targeting, 2022. So basically, y'all, if you listen to the story, you'll hear that I sent a simple text message to family members or people in my close circle. The text message was taken out of context and lambasted, apparently, and that was what started my targeting. And it created like this illegal targeting situation for me. Did not know I was a target. 2 years in, I was working as a teacher. I was also doing security, and I was dealing with targeting and not aware of the fact that that's what I was dealing with. So after 2 years of dealing with what felt like weird activity, You know, this is how it is when you get targeted. It's like this weird thing where like this whole new world opens up to you and you start seeing things and learning about things that you never knew existed. It's not one of those things you grow up hearing about. You know, you grow up hearing about getting in trouble, right? So stay on the right path. Don't get in trouble. Stay out of jail. You don't get warned about targeting. There is no precursor to this program. It's one of those things where if you're unlucky, you know, and you piss off the wrong person, you get thrown in. You don't even have to commit a crime. And then once you get thrown in, your life is turned upside down. It's much worse than being convicted of a crime and thrown in prison. It's bonkers. And the scary thing is there's an element of gaslighting to it. So it's not even something that you can concretely validate unless you do what I do, and you do research and you provide documentation, evidence, etc. to back up the things that you're saying. Anyways, y'all, I don't need to say all of that. Y'all know how I do. Those of you that have been subscribed, at the beginning of all of these videos, I always do this. I always do this intro redundantly because I know that, like I've said before, someone new might come across my channel for the first time, and this might be the first video that they come in contact with. So just for clarity, and just so that they can know what's going on and be up to date with the things I'm talking about in my newer videos, I always do this intro. That's just how it is, y'all. I do apologize for those of you that are not new to the channel, right? Hold on, y'all. The reason the screen keeps coming off is because low power mode is on. So let me turn that off real quickly and then I'll continue talking. Okay, so let me go ahead and continue now, y'all. Sorry about that. Y'all can, I don't know if you noticed, but the battery sign in the upper right hand corner is now turned green. Whenever it's yellow, that means low power mode is on and the screen will keep turning off every 10 seconds. Extremely irritating. Anyways, y'all, so that's what it's about. You know, I've said this enough times and I don't need to say it in every video. Yes, I will do the redundant intro, but I don't need to explain why I'm doing the repetitive intro every time. But I did it in the last 2 videos. Anyway, y'all, this is just another documentation moment. But more than documentation, it really is just talking about reactive abuse, PTSD, and targeting, you know, and how you're stared at like a zoo animal all day long. And kind of played with like a toy is what it feels like, right? Because that's kind of what's going on, where all these people are watching you all around. And it's kind of like a freak show where they're, you know, standing up outside, like, you know, in the circus or something like that, where you go to see the side act, right? Or the freak show. And you're looking through the glass at the freak show and whatever it is that's being presented is in there on display. This is kind of what it feels like when you're targeted. Because all these people have access to this live feed that's on you. And it's not like they're just watching you and not interacting with you. It's like constant interaction and reminding you that you're being stared at. Meanwhile, you're also dealing with sensitization, you know, constantly being sent subliminals with the technology, the shadow networking software that I've talked about in several of these videos. And then you're also dealing with external noise campaigns. So it's really intense. So they're staring at you all day long. Right? Understand the level of torture that's taking place, and to people who haven't even committed a crime. They're staring at you all day long. No matter what you put on, manipulation of the technology is being done with the AI shadow networking software, which I've talked about before, y'all. Again, if you're new, check out the links in the description box. Learn about the technology used on targets. Learn about the tactics and listen to my story. Because I went off on a tangent, y'all, when I started explaining about the redundant intro that I always do in the beginning of my videos. Let me finish saying what I was saying there and then I'm gonna hop back here. Sorry for going all over the place. Something just happened. That's why I'm a little bit flustered. But anyway, so if you listen to my story, y'all, there are several different video options in the description box and comment section you can choose from. If you listen to the story, you'll hear about the targeting. Again, it started in 2020. In 2022, I tried to relocate off of the island it started on. It followed me, because that's how the program works. I didn't know, of course, that I was targeted. When it did follow me and I realized it followed me, I had some reactions And those reactions, it's called reactive abuse, caused my targeting to go viral, and it caused it to worsen. And so eventually I ended up coming back to the island that I tried to relocate off of, right? An island I grew up on. This is my home, I'm born and raised here. And I lived in the States for a number of years too when I went to college, but I was born and raised on this island. So it's not like I'm some sort of stranger to the island, but this is strange activity that's taking place that I've never seen before. So anyways, when I got back to island, my targeting had worsened and it had went viral. So before I left, it was already bad before I ever made videos, because I keep getting gaslit about the videos too, y'all. And I realize most targets do. Because if you make the videos and you document and you refute certain things, then the programming isn't as efficient. And so that's why most targets get backlash about the videos we're making. But anyways, before I had ever made videos, I told y'all I was dealing with this thing for 2 years and I tried to relocate. Even then it was bad, right? And a lot of people were hopping on and more people were getting involved. This is why I left. But then when I left and I came back, obviously it was much worse. The whole island was privy to the targeting at that point because it had gone viral due to some reactions that I had, right? Sharing offensive content. I never put my hands on anybody, but I shared offensive content in reaction and retaliation to some of the things that I was experiencing. High level stalking, targeting, etc., y'all. Anyways, so this is where we're at now. In 2022, came back to the island, started doing research because of some of the things I experienced in the mainland. I realized this thing was a lot more serious than what I had realized. And I just typed in, people being stalked by groups of people, came across the term gang stalking, and from there it was history. That was when I got introduced to the targeted individual community, and I started learning all the things that I know now. That was how it started. And so over the course of the last 2 years, since the end of 2022 to now, the end of 2024, I've done in-depth research, and I've just shared what I've learned in these videos, shared my experience, shared experiences from other targets, and shared evidence to back up the things that we're saying, to validify our experience and the existence of this program, the existence of the technology, etc. So please check the links out. I don't put it there for style or for GP. I put it there to help other targets, because a lot of the info that I have on my channel, I wish I knew earlier on in my targeting. Things would have never gotten this bad. When I had the resources to help myself, things could have been better for me. I would have made better decisions in the targeting. I didn't know. I had no clue, y'all. I had no clue. You don't know about this thing until you get either A, thrown into it, targeted, or B, well, there's three ways you could learn about this thing. A, you get thrown into it, targeted. B, you decide to join the targeting and become a gang stalker and harass the target. Or C, you're just an innocent bystander, onlooker. You better pray you're one of the two latter options and not the first option, like what happened to me. But you don't know about this unless you find out those 3 ways. It's not something you grew up learning about. So it's really scary stuff. Anyways, y'all, back to what I was saying though. So this video I don't want it to be too long, and I don't want problems either, because even though I continue to make these videos for my protection, documentation, etc., I don't want to, I said this in the last video, I called it self-sabotage, and I used air quotes, because even though it's typically in defense of yourself, right, and you're defending yourself, and trying to refute certain things that take place with the targeting, if you're not careful with the documentation, or if you say things in the wrong way, you already have a lot of people that are against you, right? That's just how the thing works. It's very unfair. If you don't word things correctly, or if you say the wrong thing, you could sabotage yourself and end up messing up things for yourself in a way, and it would seem like self-sabotage when really it's reactive abuse. But still, I would call it self-sabotage, right? Because you can react in a different way. You can document in a way that's, you're keeping yourself protected, and you're not burning bridges, I suppose, while still documenting what's going on, and etc. So anyways, guys, they've been on one all day today. I don't know what's going on really. It started actually yesterday, right? Yesterday, was it yesterday or today? I'm losing track of the time now. It's crazy how the days are morphing together. I think it started yesterday. So yesterday I had a conversation. It's been ongoing, y'all. I don't know what I'm saying started like it's something that stops and starts again. The targeting is ongoing. I'm targeted. And until I get out the program, it's ongoing, constantly happening. But there are moments where things amp up. You know, I tell you guys this all the time, right? And I really want to say, like I told you all, over the last 3 months, really, since I started going to the gym in the morning and I changed up the routine, this is what I know is I kid you not, I just have been documenting it. Things have gotten worse in a way, but then it's like not worse as in like last year where it was really bad, but things did start to get worse as far as tactics being used. I did notice that. And so it's just kind of like this weird kind of way that the targeting is right now, where it had gotten a lot better, and then like these last 3 months things have kind of amped up a little bit. And then now here this weekend, things just kind of got weird again, right? So here's what happened. Oh boy, I don't even want to document this. I wasn't going to make a video about this, y'all. I was not going to make a video about this, I'm telling you. But since I'm talking about what I'm about to talk about, I may as well talk about what happened on Friday. Because really, they're pushing this race thing like crazy. They're sensitizing me to race purposefully, trying to create this reaction and this weird thing they're trying to do because of the offensive Hebrew Israelite propaganda that I shared in my vehicle in Florida. It's not really about that, y'all. Check this video out. My part 2 impeding of the targeted individual's life video, where I talk specifically about the race thing, and how that's not really why they're amping up on me. They're making it seem like that's what it is. But before that, they were amping up on me for the text message. Like, it's always going to be something when you're targeted. It's just something weird that happens with a target when you get thrown in. And then everything you're doing is villainized, and you can see other people doing it and worse. And they're not doing anything to those people. It's really not about that, I'm telling you. They're making it like the race thing and zooming in on that, but that's not really what it is. Anyway, So anyways, y'all, let me tell y'all, I'm not going to go into the details about the race thing and the things I shared in my car in Florida. Check out the videos I've already posted, where you can start so you can hear why I shared the things in my car in Florida. It was reactive abuse. Start with this video. First, listen to my story, y'all. Whichever video you want to listen to. Take your pick. I told you there are several options. I've linked those videos in the description box and comment section. After you hear my story, then check out my part 1, Gaslighting and Programming of the Targeted Individual. Your Mind is Programmable video. You can see it's 2 hours and 17 minutes long, right? In that video, I go into details about what took place in Indiana and how my targeting turned racially charged. And then I talk about what happened when I left Indiana, went down to Florida. Shortly before coming back to the island I tried to relocate off of, sat in my car. They were using the shadow networking AI software on me. And as usual, the gang stalkers around were staring at me like an animal and antagonizing me and harassing me. And so I got angry and I started sharing offensive Hebrew Israelite propaganda in my car. Things I had learned growing up in my household, and also offensive things that I didn't need to share. Right? Purposefully, angrily, out of anger, it was a reaction. I don't have a history of sharing these things. I don't have a history of pushing belief systems on people. It was reactive abuse, as clear as day, and they're still using that as a reason to propel the targeting. That's not the real reason. Just understand that. I've proven it in several videos. But so check out that part 1 video first. And then after you check that out, y'all, if you have the time, take your time, please check out these videos, because I go into detail about the race thing and I knock down that reason. That's not really why they're doing what they're doing, right? Anyway, then check out the part 2, the impeding of the targeted individual's life, where I really go into detail about the race thing and where I learned some of the info from and what I do believe from what I don't believe. And again, why I shared what I shared in my car in reaction to what was taking place and what had happened to me in Indiana, something I didn't deserve. I was targeted illegally, hadn't even committed a crime, right? So check out those 2 videos. That's as much as I'm going to say about the race thing. I'm done with it. I've apologized numerous times. I'm not going to keep apologizing. I actually saw a meme that said, if you have to keep apologizing to someone, maybe you're not the one with the problem. I'm not going to sit here and keep apologizing. At this point now, they would lie and say that it sounds disingenuous, but you need to understand it's been about 2 years of me apologizing and creating videos and explaining this, and I'm done. And them staring at me and creating narratives and making me uncomfortable and sensitizing me to that race intentionally, right? And then gaslighting me about being sensitized, just like the child thing, sensitizing me to children and females and gaslighting me about that reaction as well. I'm done. I'm done with it. I've apologized. I'm done with it. Anyway, moving up, right? So y'all check out those videos. I even talked about this student that I had, that I helped, I could have failed, that I purposely passed. If I were really the prejudiced bitch they're trying to paint it as, I could have failed him. But anyways, you know, because this is what the targeting does. It gets you to a low level and then you start reacting in this kind of way where you start saying things you shouldn't say, right? Because as a teacher, there's a level of confidentiality there. This is why I never revealed who the student was. But there's a level of confidentiality there, right? So there are certain things you shouldn't say if you've encountered certain situations. But I got so worked up with the race thing and them throwing it at me constantly that I even gave a recount of an incident I had with a student prior to me leaving Island who was white, right? Who was really smart. I talked about him, you know, almost like a genius, really smart kid. And a coworker of mine had a similar experience with him, right? Where he just wasn't doing his work, seemed bored with school. And really, I think he was just bright, right? And so sometimes that's how it is. If something's too easy for you or, you know, whatever, you might lose interest. I've been there. Not saying too bright, but I'm just saying, like, you know how it is with ADD as well. Like, if it's not interesting, you're not there, right? So I could empathize with him. So I worked with him because I saw the potential in him. But that's all I'm saying. Like, I've had opportunities to really be prejudiced, like how they claim and I wasn't prejudiced prior to my targeting. I even showed a post that I posted for Thanksgiving before I left Island. I didn't have to do that either. So they're doing what they do. There are people down here who are part of the Hebrew Israelite group that I was sharing in my vehicle. Mind you, I'm not associated with that group. And I'm not trying to throw them under the bus either. Because look, they rev up every time I start saying that. That's to tell you that's not what it's about. They're even protecting those people. That's what I'm saying. It's not about that. I'm telling you it's not about that. Anyway, I wasn't even affiliated with that group that I shared in my car in Florida. So I should have never done that. I even, you know, have apologized in my videos to that group in particular. Because I was never really affiliated with them like that. And then now this big, huge situation is happening. You know, and all this attention is on me, and I start sharing their content and the worst of their content. Like, you know, it's just like that was poor decision making. But again, it's called reactive abuse. So not trying to throw them under the bus because this is what happens and how you get more enemies in the targeting. But really, I'm just trying to say, like, those people that really actively share that stuff, some of them are here on this island and they were not revving by. They were on the side of the road sharing whatever pamphlets, and I saw people stopping and dapsing them up, and you know, so it's not really about that. I'm telling you. Even with the child thing that they're you know, the fake narrative that they tried to create from the text message, when I started making comments about that, there are people on this island that really did stuff and da-da-da. You know, they start hopping on me for that too. Protecting those people. So it's not about that. I'm telling you. Whatever it is, the issue is, it's not anything that they're trying to make it about. But anyways, it's like this humiliation humble campaign, you know, constantly coming for my self-esteem all day long, constantly when I'm doing things productive, like working out, you know, doing things to impede me, making little girls bend down in front of me, weird activity, flying flies in my face. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something else going on. I'm telling you. Anyway, so let me just, because I get angry and then I start going off. And then, like I said, the self-sabotage, air quotes, when it's reactive abuse. And you're dealing with the thing for years, and you're not supposed to have a human reaction to it. And they're staring at you all day long and sending you a bunch of stupid shit with the technology and then these tactics being done, and you get angry about it. And then it's you're the problem. But anyway, so let me tell y'all what happened on Friday, because that's not where the race thing started. They've been pushing the race thing for the last 2 years. That and the text messaging. Those are the two main things they push. Then they started pushing the witchcraft thing too. They're just pushing a bunch of dumb, stupid shit to make me feel accused. But there are things that they hone in on more than other things. And the race thing, they've really been pushing that thing, especially this year. I don't know, for some reason this year it's been more turned up than last year with the race thing. They've really been pushing that thing this year. Anyway, so I'm completely sensitized to not just diversity at this point, which is crazy because we're living in such a diverse world and this is such a liberal time now, right? That's oxymoronic though, because even though things are so liberal, quote unquote liberal now, you're also dealing with a lot more, I don't even know how I want to say this. Like, it's just a lot different than how it used to be. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say too much and start making, like I said, problems for myself and sound like a conspiracy theorist. But with the type of technology and stuff they have now, it's like, very close to dystopia. But anyway, let me finish saying what I was saying, though. So they're pushing the race thing. They've been pushing it all year hardcore. Like, I've apologized several times. I've talked about it several times. They're still pushing it just for the hell of it. So anyways, on Friday, before I went to the gym, I had asked to borrow the car so I could go to the laundry. That was my payday. Y'all know I don't have transportation. Still don't. Working on it, right? So some days when I get paid, I borrow the vehicle from the person in my close circle, drop her to work. She lets me use the vehicle for the day. So I was exhausted, y'all. Y'all know I worked the night shift. I'm working a lot of hours now. Grateful for them. Not complaining about it. But I'm working a lot of hours. And then in the morning time, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I go straight from working the night shift, get ready, go home with the vehicle, bathe up, and I ride down with the person in my close circle that teaches still. So on her way, I told you guys this already, to work, she drops me to the gym, right? So I'm going straight from working the night shift to working out this intense, vigorous workout in the gym. I'm not doing no lightweight stuff. I'm doing some hardcore stuff in the gym, right? So this day on Friday, since she let me borrow the vehicle, not only did I drop her to work, after doing the night shift, I didn't get any rest. I went straight and I started taking care of business because I had gotten paid. I went to wash my clothes at the laundry. I went to do some shopping, and then I went to the gym. And by the time I did all of that, it was time to pick her up. The whole day had basically gone by, and it was like around 2 o'clock, 2:30 when I went to pick her up. So understand, exhaustion is playing a role in a lot of what's taking place. I'm exhausted, right? Tired, not resting, right? Working all these hours, and then I'm pushing my body to the limit during the daytime. And I noticed that the more tired I am, the more the programming and the sensitization pops into my brain. So I told you guys this already in several of these videos, that oftentimes I call it brain ticking. This is not targeted individual jargon. This is Sharifa jargon. I made this term up in reference to the ticks that happen from the programming. So remember what I told you on several of these videos. It's MK Ultra mind control programming. Look at that model, right? And how they used it on people back in the day, right? Versus now. It's been like decades and decades of them using this technology. And it's similar to what they do with ads. That's based off of the same model. They use ads to get people to buy stuff, right? So all they have to do is, you go into movies, for instance. I keep saying this is an example because it's real. This is the best analogy I can give you. Think about when you go to the movies and an ad for popcorn or candy or soda pops on the screen for 30 seconds, right? After those 30 seconds of you seeing that ad, you don't think about it again, right? It's just an ad. You're just waiting for it to come off, right? It's like white noise. It's not really something you're seeing. You're seeing it, but you're not seeing it. But the subconscious mind is seeing it though, right? So it comes off the screen. You're like, okay, yay, the movie's back on. A few minutes later, right? Popcorn pops in your head. Soda pops in your head. And you don't even realize it's popping in your head because a little while ago you saw that ad. It's called programming. And that's what they use on targets 24/7 all day long. It's so invasive. It's way more intense than just an ad. So all day long, whatever it is they're trying to sensitize you to in your specific targeting. For me, I already told you all, right? They're spitefully pushing a false narrative from the text message. Hold on, y'all. Someone's on the porch. Give me a second. Sorry, I was waiting for somebody to go through the front door. Y'all know my room is connected to the porch, so the noise interrupts with the video. So anyways, 24/7 with the technology, unless you're going to sit there and stare at the wall or not use technology anymore. If you're using technology, if you're using a computer and you're connected to the internet, if you're using a phone and you're connected to the internet and you're watching Netflix, Hulu, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you're watching, they can send you with the AI shadow networking software technology things to sensitize you. So let's say, for instance, in your targeting, something you did was be rude to an elderly person, right? And they're using that as an excuse to target you. Or that's one of the reasons why they're claiming you're targeted or villainizing you. They can constantly, with the technology, purposely send you subliminal messaging about people being disrespectful to elderly people. You go on YouTube and then you're recommended, you'll notice you keep seeing ads or videos about people being disrespectful to elderly people and getting instant karma, stuff like that. That's just an example, right? So with me, it's the false narrative that was created from the text message, the child thing that they purposely are doing, right? I've already told my story. They know I didn't do anything. They're purposely doing that. And then it's the race thing, purposely pushing false narratives about the race thing. Now, in a moment of transparency, y'all, because they kept pushing stupid bullshit about the race thing and why I did it and why I didn't do it and this and that. They even went as far as to say that I wanted to be a white woman. This is how far they took the thing. And I just laughed. Honestly, it's like, it's so silly and preposterous to me. I laughed because it's not even something that got me upset. I didn't even mind them saying it because I know what the reality is. So it's not something I'm going to laugh at. I mean, it's not something I'm going to get upset about. I get upset about the child thing because that's a heinous accusation. You saying something as simple as, oh, she wants to be a white woman, that doesn't bother me. I'm going to laugh at that. That's petty stuff. It's the child thing that really works me up, and you get a vicious reaction where I want to bite your head off because that goes low. That's a low, nasty accusation, right? So that's where I get nasty and I get, this kind of way. When they come with the bullshit about that, I don't mind because I know I shared offensive stuff in my vehicle. I know what the reality is. I just laugh at it, right? But in a moment of transparency, because I do know that I shared offensive content about that race, in a moment of transparency when they sent me, she wants to be a white woman, I said this too. I said, me saying this could come back and bite me in the ass because I keep taking these moments of transparency and creating bullshit from it. And I said, but let me just be transparent anyways and let them know that I don't see anything wrong with that race, and I actually do see the beauty in that race, right? And so I said, let me just talk about what I did actually experience when I was younger in private school, right? And so I talked about the fact that one thing I did experience when I was in private school, and it wasn't specific to the white race either. I made it very clear that I went to a school that was full of diversity. So there were Asians there were Hispanic girls there were white girls there were black girls there were Indian girls there. Like, I had that type of background and that type of upbringing. I probably had a friend of every different ethnicity when I was in school back in the day. And what I said I didn't want to be white necessarily, but I do remember growing up in elementary school, going to private school, and feeling like I wasn't pretty enough. And I said, of course, if you're around different aesthetics and you're a young girl or a young woman, you might look at those other aesthetics and think, I want to be like my friend, or I want to look like that. That might be a feeling that you experience as a young woman, right? And at the time too, you're buying dolls and stuff and you're playing with your dolls, and most of the time, when you get your Barbie doll and stuff, you're combing the hair and stuff. And so this was the experience I had growing up, and I have natural hair. So a thing that's known in the natural hair community, and I can say this very freely, it's a common thing. A lot of us, when we were younger, we didn't know how to take care of our hair. That's a thing in the natural hair community and in the African American community. Not always. Some are lucky and blessed and fortunate enough that they knew what to do to take care of their hair. A lot of African American girls go through that, where in your younger years you had short hair because you didn't know how to take care of it. You didn't know that you needed to water it. You didn't know that you needed to moisturize it. It's one of those things where you just have to learn how to take care of you and love yourself. Everybody has a different way that they're made and a different way that they have to take care of themselves, right? So that was what it was. I didn't know how to take care of my hair. And so I had short matted hair back then. I was a tomboy too. I was out in the court in the hot sun playing basketball with the dudes, right? And so I was cool when I went to private school because I played with the boys. I was the tomboy. I was that girl, right? But it wasn't a thing where I was feeling beautiful because I was a tomboy, first of all. Didn't take care of myself. And second of all, I didn't know how to take care of my hair. So it was short and it was broken and it was matted. And my mom used to take care of her hair. She used to braid our hair and stuff. So don't make it seem like, I don't want to make it seem like my mom was neglecting us. My mom took good care of her hair. She braided it and stuff. But even she didn't really know about how to take care of natural hair until this whole natural hair movement started later on, right? Around the time when I was in high school, like 2010, That was when that thing really started popping. You started seeing girls, black girls with long hair, and oh, our hair can grow too. Like, oh, we just have to water it. We just have to put moisture in it. Oh, eureka. It's like an epiphany that happened. And a lot of people been on. A lot of black girls been on, but some weren't. And I was one of them that was not on. My hair was broken and short. And so in transparency, I said that, it's like a compliment to those other races. Like, I felt like, okay, they were lucky. They just spray water in their hair and they go. Whereas with African American hair, you have to really take care of that thing. You have to water it. You have to put moisture in it. You have to sleep with satin or silk on your hair, right? To make sure that it grows. Because that's just how our hair is. Our hair is like a chia pet. It's like a plant. So you have to water it and you have to feed it nutrients for it to grow. You have to take care of it. And that's all it is, right? I said that, they ran with that. You know how they are malicious with the technology, and they already feel however they feel about me because I shared offensive stuff in my vehicle in reaction to what was happening to me in Indiana. And then in Florida, what continued. So they took what I said and they started to create narratives with it, right? And they've been doing that anyway. They've been running with stuff. And unfortunately for me, this is a time in my life where I wasn't taking care of my hair. This whole year I neglected my hair. I did not take care of that thing. It's broken and it's short right now. I can stretch it out. You can see it has a little length. It's getting there. It's growing back slowly but surely. Humble brag. But it's short right now. It's shorter than it's been in years. Anybody that truly knows me knows how long my hair was. You can look at my sister's hair. Both of my sisters, their hair is long right now. My hair is catching back. I cut it last year. And this is a funny thing too. They were making so much noise campaign last year when I was chopping my hair off in the mirror. It was a big, huge thing. I was chopping the thing off. They're doing so much noise campaign last year. Because I've cut my hair throughout the year so many times. You know how much different hairstyles? I've had dreadlocks like 3 different times. I had natural hair, big, huge, long hair. Because I know how to take care of my hair and I wasn't targeted. And so I was putting more effort into that and into different things, taking care of my skin. Now I'm mainly just focused on gym and work. And I've been neglecting my face. I've been neglecting my hair, and they're running with it. Because that's what they do with the technology. They come for your self-esteem. That's a tactic that they use on all targets. It's not specific to me. So anyways, unfortunately for me, this has just been a bad year for my hair and my skin for that matter. And so they're running with it and bald head this and bald head that, stupid, ignorant comments. Because if you had any sense, you would know that anybody can have long hair. First of all, I have a mixed texture hair. That's how it is. If I take care of my hair, you'll see what's going on with my hair. But even if I had the nappiest, coarsest, peasiest hair, even still my hair could grow down to my butt if I took care of that thing. So it's a matter of just learning, right? And having cognizance of what goes on around you. So making these ignorant comments about bald head, that's stupid. Because I could easily just grow my hair if I took care of it, which is what I'm doing. Like I said, humble brag. Slowly but surely, I'm growing my hair back. But this is something they're just like constantly with the technology pounding away at, right? They're just trying to come for anything. And I realized, and they sent this to me before too. They told me what they were doing. They said if someone keeps coming for certain things about you, that's because they see the potential in you. They sent that to me several times. And, just seeing some of the things, I'm just like, okay, so that's what's going on. Like, stop biting the bait, you dumbass. But it's hard because it's like they're pounding this thing in your head. I'm human, programming my brain to feel this kind of way, right? They're trying to create this thing of insecurity and trying to almost like make me feel this feeling towards that race purposefully. And then when it comes on the screen, right, this person comes on the screen or they're doing the technology. Like, for instance, let me give you an example. Before I get there, though, I'm going to talk about what happened earlier. But let me talk about what happened on Friday. So understand I'm sensitized to that race. Constantly with the technology, they're sending me sensitization about that race. Purposefully trying to call me ugly through the technology, trying to call me bald-headed through the technology. All this crazy stuff like that, trying to tell me that I'm objectifying myself because I'm wearing clothes and going to the gym. I'm covered up, by the way. I don't wear short pants. I don't have my stomach out. I don't have my titties out. Constantly telling me I'm objectifying myself and I'm making myself a sexual object, just coming for me in a disrespectful way and trying to it's almost like not only just humiliate me, but degrade me purposefully. And I realize what they're doing. It's not working. And this is why I'm moving around like this cocky thing and it pisses them off even more. But you're creating that disposition within me when you're doing the things you're doing it because I'm wise enough to realize that you see the potential in me, and that's why you're trying to tear me down and make me believe like I'm this horrible thing. And so it makes me feel more full of myself, and then it pisses them off more. But you're doing that. So anyways, on Friday, I went, like I told y'all, so went off on a tangent. I borrowed the vehicle from the person in my close circle, went to the laundry, did all this stuff. While I was at the laundry, I always do this, I threw my stuff in the machine. I went to the store to do some shopping. I'm doing the shopping. I got my stuff. I get on the line. I'm checking my stuff out. This older white lady comes on the line next to me. I've been on the line with several different white people. I've been around white people. This is a diverse island. I grew up here. I told you I went to private school and it was full of diversity. I used to sleep over at my friend's house, several of them, and they were white. So it's not like this is something that's new to me. My grandmother was basically white. I've said this already, right? Now I'm so sensitized to that race because of them constantly pounding certain narratives in my head all day long with the technology and then staring at me, all these people staring at me while they're sending the humiliating stuff or whatever it is they're trying to send with the technology to create stuff. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by humiliating stuff. I'll talk about what happened earlier. I'll give you an example, but I don't want to be all over the place. I want to document what happened on Friday. So they're sending this stuff, right, constantly and trying to create this type of, feeling and this perception, right? And then they have all these people staring at me, and I'm aware that all these people are staring at me, and they know that I'm going to feel uncomfortable with what they're sending. It's like they like told you this already, subliminally roast you through the technology, and they sensitize you to certain things. And for me, it happens to be white people specifically, but really they try to sensitize me to really just different races at this point, but mainly white people. They're trying to create this thing. So they're sending that sensitization and then expect me to have a normal expression on my face. They know I'm going to look uncomfortable. They know I'm going to get an awkward look on my face. They're doing it to humiliate and to torture. It's a torture program, right? And they do, this is what they do. So for me specifically, it's the race thing. But for other targets, it's different things they're sensitized to. So anyway, on Friday, this lady comes on the line, this elderly lady, right? She comes on the line behind me. She's white. She says, hey, she said, good morning, Janet, right? So the cashier's name obviously is Janet, another elderly lady, but she was black. So something about the way she said, good morning, Janet, and the fact that she was elderly, it triggered the sensitization that they're constantly sending to me. And I already told you all in the recent videos, sometimes when I see that race, it doesn't happen all the time and I can't determine when it's going to happen from when it's not going to happen. I don't know, maybe it's something about that specific person of that race that triggers it. I don't know what it is. It's programming. All I know is sometimes when I see that race, it doesn't happen all the time, like I said, the word that I used to share in my car, the word that I did share in my car, pertaining to the Hebrew Israelite propaganda and that race, that word sometimes will pop in my head and it's just like programming and I'm trying so hard to not let it pop in. It's just this fear because your thoughts are being heard. That maybe you've said offensive things that other people are aware of because that's how the targeting works. It's called reactive abuse. And they use these nasty reactions to propel the targeting. So if you're aware of the fact that you said offensive stuff in anger about a certain race, and that the whole race and everyone else knows that you said those things, right? And you're going around these people and they can hear your thoughts naturally, and then also too all day long with the technologies of programming your brain and reminding you that you shared that stuff in your vehicle, that word might pop in your head sometimes, or something might pop in your head that you don't want. It's just like psychological. It's almost like this fear that, oh my God, what if that pops in my head? And that fear makes it start popping in your head. I can't really explain it. And then too, there's the element of thought manipulation. I documented that in the last video, y'all. Check that video out. They actually pushed something in my head the other night about the other narrative, the text message thing. So they can push stuff too if they want to humiliate you. So I never know if it's them pushing it or if it's really just programming. Oftentimes I think it really is just programming, but really I don't know. I just know sometimes it happens. It doesn't always happen. And recently it's been worse. Like in these last few months, they've amped up with the race thing. It's been worse. It's been worse these last few months. Like that thing was happening to me, like I want to say at the beginning of the year. More so like the end of last year, where sometimes when I would see that race, the word would try to pop in my head. And I kind of controlled it. And all year it's been like good. That hasn't really been happening to me. And then over the last few months, they've amped up with the race thing. And it's kind of happening again now, where every now and then when I see someone of that race, that word might start trying to pop in my head and I'm trying to push it out. So this lady, I don't know if it was just the way she said, hey, Janet, like she knew the lady, and it didn't seem like theater. I think she was genuinely saying, hey, Janet. Obviously, she knows her. But just the fact that she came on the line behind me could have been what the gang stalking was. I'm not sure, because there was a register that was free that was right next to me, but she came behind me instead, and I was still getting cashed out. So I think that triggered it. Again, I'm not being accusatory. It could just be like, okay, this is the closer register. She's almost done. I'll just come here. It could have been that, right? But there is an element of gang stalking with the targeting too, where they'll purposely put certain sensitization around you. Like for me, I told you, females, children, purposefully, or white people to create stuff, right? So in that instance, I couldn't tell if it was gang stalking or not. I'm sure the lady probably really was shopping and she just knows who I am. And maybe she said, let me hop on behind her. I don't know. But it was the, hey, Janet, that triggered it for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it reminded me of the theater that used to take place in Indiana, where they kept setting up theater and showing these amicable interactions between white and black purposefully. They kept doing it in Indiana like crazy. And then they were doing it in Florida too. And even down here, they do it sometimes. So maybe that's what triggered it. I don't know. Sometimes they don't have to say anything. I can just see that race and it starts happening. I'm trying to push it out. But it's been happening these last few months pretty bad. So she said that, and the thing started happening. And so I started having a meltdown there at the register because I did not want her to hear that word. I didn't want to be like, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I've already apologized profusely. And so it's like, okay, then if that pops in my head, oh my God, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes and trying to think about it like, okay, let's say it was somebody white that was in their car being targeted and they got angry and started sharing racial, offensive, I guess you could say, propaganda. It's still different though, because it's not like I used a racial slur. I'm using a term from the Bible, but the point is there's an offensive ideology connected to that term. And so at this point now, I feel like it's almost as bad as using a racial slur. So for me, I try to put myself in their shoes and think like, okay, well, what if there was a white person in a car that was sharing offensive content and calling black people niggers? Like, this is what I'm trying to look at it as. And so I try to think, well, okay, so then if this person now apologized, but they're being targeted and the thing is being thrown at them constantly, what if sometimes when they get around black people, the word nigger is popping in their head? So I feel like it's that level of offensive. And so I'm freaking out every time I'm around somebody white because I'm like, if that word pops in my head, is that equivalent to me saying nigger? So it's just like, I'm freaking out about it. I don't want the thing to pop in my head. And the more I freak out about it, the more it happens. Right? And so they're just pounding the shit in my head more and more. And it's going to keep happening if they keep doing it the way they're doing it, programming it into my brain and purposely pushing certain narratives. But anyway, so that's what started happening on the line there. And I was just like, I did not want that thing to pop in my head. So I literally, like, typically when my brain is ticking in public, I'm not going to move my hands and, start stuttering and doing whatever, tactics I do to try to stop whatever from pushing in my head. Because remember, y'all, with the neuromonitoring technology, I forgot to say this. I didn't feel like I needed to say this. I just I'm talking again like y'all are familiar with what's going on. That's why I said check out the other videos and get up to date, y'all, because I'm using targeted individual jargon and terminology. Anyway, so with the neuromonitoring technology, your thoughts are being projected. They microchip you with nanobots and an RFID chip, acronym for radio frequency identifier. And so with this technology, they do something called brain to computer interface. And so they can project your thoughts. I don't know completely how the thing works, y'all. Still trying to learn and figure things out. But in real time, everyone around you can hear the thoughts that you're thinking. That's why it's so intense and invasive. And so imagine you're being programmed all day long. They're pushing this thing in your head, reminding you of offensive stuff you shared out of anger, right? They're pushing it in your head all day long. And then you get around the person that you shared the offensive stuff about, the thing might push in your head, right? And so you're freaking out trying to stop the thing from pushing. And the more you freak out, the more it's pushing in your head. That's just how it works. Anyway, so that's what started happening in that moment. I started freaking out, man. I started like really crazy shit, man, trying to stop the thing from popping in my head. It was a hot mess. And I got out of the store successfully. As soon as I get out the store, to now pound in what just took place, 2 police officers pull up, come out the vehicle, and walk up to a homeless man. Do you understand? It wasn't a white homeless man. It was a black homeless man, but nonetheless a homeless man. Again, a reminder of what took place on the Greyhound bus, which was not race related. The guy to the left of me was Hispanic, the guy to the right of me was white, and the guy sitting behind who kept coughing too and nodding his head and fake snoring was black. It wasn't a race thing on that Greyhound bus. But anyways, it's just like, they're not trying to make it a race thing. That's why it was a black homeless person. But again, just pushing another reaction that I had at me. So there it was. I freaked out in there because of the race sensitization. And then to pound in what just took place, the humiliation, 2 police officers pull up and walk next to a homeless man. So it's a reminder of something else that I reacted to negatively or adversely during the targeting. Another reactive abuse moment that they're using to paint me as a villain. Mind you, also, too, there was this guy, random dude, I don't know him from anywhere, that was smirking at me, and he even stopped and turned around and just stared at me. I'm like, do I know him? You know, just like, this is like a real freak show. Some of them can't even, fake the reaction. What's going on? It's crazy. Anyway, so moments like that just makes it worse. Just so you know, if this program is meant to rehabilitate a person, it's oxymoronic and it's counterproductive, because none of the tactics they're using could ever rehabilitate anyone. This is not meant to make somebody better, but worse. It's going to make the person more monstrous, more villainous, right? More venomous, more toxic, because this is how you're treating them. And then you're programming bullshit into their head. It's counterproductive. You're not doing anything productive with this targeting other than just trying to humiliate someone. So anyways, that's what it was. Really, it just creates more of the tick, and that's what's been happening. It's just getting worse. The tick when it comes to that race. It's funny, I was even watching this show called Stonehurst Asylum. I didn't finish watching it. I just started watching it last night. Or basically like these people in the mental house, real batshit crazy people. Like I'm talking about people that did some real crazy shit in this damn movie. They're in the nut house, right? And they overtook the doctors apparently, because the doctors were treating them like animals and locking them up all day long in cages and, doing all kinds of horrible stuff to them. So they overtook the doctors and they threw the doctors in cages down below the asylum. And the craziest dude in the asylum started running the asylum and dressing like a doctor and running things. And he started to kind of successfully rehabilitate some batshit crazy people. And he was saying all you have to do is treat them like a human, and that can rehabilitate anyone. He said you treat a man like an animal, they act like an animal. And that's how it is with the targeting. Like, they're treating you like an animal, purposely doing all this heinous stuff, tearing down your self-esteem, coming for you constantly, pushing false narratives at this point. And then you start acting like this monster and, reactive abuse. And then you get gaslit about the reaction. It's such a toxic program, and it's so counterproductive. I don't see any benefit to it. There could not be the intent of rehabilitation. And then to keep throwing the word change at me. I'm just like, it's just crazy to me. Anyway, so that happened on Friday, right? And of course, when I get to the gym now, they're throwing, it just felt like, they were about to try and do stuff with the Italian guy. Like, I just could feel it. They're using him as a gang stalker in there. I mean, I could tell he's really a personal trainer. That's for sure. I can tell he's really a personal trainer. He really goes to that gym. But I think they're using him sometimes as like a form of gang stalking for me, especially when something specific happens with the race thing. Especially when his name started taking in my head, they really started to try to utilize him in that way. And it's horrible. They're even sending me his name. They keep sending me stuff about, trying to push this thing and trying to make that an uncomfortable scenario in the gym for me. But that's not the first thing they tried to make uncomfortable in the gym for me with the technology. They've pushed other stuff too, and I still go there and I still do my thing. Nothing is going to stop me from working out, because that's like one of the best things I have right now with the targeting. So there's nothing that they're going to throw at me that's going to deter me from going in there and working out. Nothing is going to do it, right? So with him, I think it's just this thing where they use him to sensitize me because they know his name ticks in my head. And I already foolishly put my foot in my mouth and said that it's something that I find humiliating, because I already know that I shared all these offensive things in my vehicle. He happens to be this race, and then he happens to also be a guy, right? And they like to push this thirsty narrative. So I just know how they are. I've been dealing with it long enough. And so this is what made it this thing where I'm just like desperately trying not to let the thing pop in my head. And the more I try again, the more his name would pop in my head. And so that was something they tried to, trying to kind of use that in a way. Not all the time. It's just sometimes. Like I noticed on Friday, it almost seemed like they were going to try to use him a little bit. And I just remember thinking in my head, Jesus Christ, they're going to go ham on me today. And when I thought that thought, he got up and he left. So I think he decided to have mercy and not do the gang stalking that day on Friday. But it's just like the tick happened, and it's just like, it seemed like when I got to the gym, it was almost like they were going to try to use him to do gang stalking, and then they had to change a heart or something. I don't know. But it's horrible, man. It's horrible what's happening with this thing. It's really bad, and it's just like, of course, everywhere you go, this is a diverse world. You're going to see a diverse range of people. It's an eclectic group of people everywhere you go. And so constantly my brain is going to have this tick if they keep sensitizing me to it and pushing these false narratives. So let me talk about what happened today now, y'all. I already told you they keep sending stuff about me wanting to be white and all this other stuff. And so they'll purposely, like with the technology, they love doing this, right? I'll be sitting there and I'll be watching a show, and they'll start to insert stuff, right? Like, they'll insert stuff about people being ugly, right? And then they'll start to praise a white female purposefully. It's this weird thing they're doing, right? To try to create this thing. And then you'll have noise campaign in the background. They're doing it intentionally and trying to create like this false insecurity and this false sense of insecurity between me and that race. They're trying to do that on purpose because of what I said in transparency. Actually trying to be humble is what I was trying to be, and let you know that I do recognize the beauty in that race and I don't have a problem with them. They took the thing and ran with the thing and, of course, used it as a bullet to shoot me. I need to keep learning how this thing works and learn you can't be transparent and genuine in this thing at all. This is warfare. It's psychological warfare. This is not kumbaya, no. And so anyways, so I was sitting there earlier and I was watching House. I put the show House on because I love that show. I grew up watching it. And so I put it on, I put the first episode on. I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen the show in years. I'm sure y'all are familiar with that. If you're a millennial, even if you're not really, because that show went on for a number of years and a number of seasons. I think like in recent years, it actually stopped airing. Anyway, so I put it on season 1. I was like, yes, they have all the seasons. Finally, I have a good series that I can watch. Because I can't remember the episodes. My memory's like an elephant, but like something like that, I'm not going to remember. That wasn't one of those shows where it's like we watched it over and over again where I would remember the episodes. I just remember watching the show, growing up watching it with my mom and stuff and my siblings. So anyway, I put it on. I was excited. I watched the first episode. The first episode was about this elementary school teacher. She was white and she was around my age too. She was 29. I'm 32. Y'all know I used to be a teacher. I taught high school though. I did teach elementary back in the day. But for the most part, I've worked with high schoolers. But still, there's that relevancy, right? There's that relativity, excuse me. So anyway, she's an elementary school teacher. And, if you watch House, what happens is in every episode, there are like these medical mysteries where these people get like these rare illnesses or sicknesses. And House, he's like a genius, the doctor, right? He's cynical and he's kind of like an asshole, but he's really smart. And he usually can figure out what's going on with the patient. So anyways, with her, it's like she's in front of the class with her students and she starts like quacking like a duck. Like she couldn't speak or formulate words. Like this weird thing was happening with her brain. And so they took her to the hospital and they're trying to figure out what was going on with her. And at first they thought it was a tumor. Then they thought it was some sort of like, constriction with her blood vessels, like this rare condition with her blood vessels. And then, they were going through a broad variety of things. And every time they would try to treat what they thought it would get better for a short stint. And then it would worsen. And so at a certain point, she didn't even want him to do anything else. She kind of started feeling like an experiment. And she felt like she was dying. And she felt like what they were doing was just making things worse. It was to the point where she was using a diaper. She couldn't walk. It was just really bad. And so as this is happening, I'm just getting this weird expression on my face. Because something they started doing, and they've been doing it for months now. This is not new. And I even talk about the fact that they do this. For months, they have been doing this. Whenever I watch a movie, and specifically a movie that includes white people, if the ending ends, which typically is how it is, usually the protagonist wins. So this is why I think it's so silly what they do. Typically, there are those movies where they make the protagonist die or lose or whatever. But typically when you watch a movie, the protagonist wins and is victorious in the end. That's typically what happens. So anyways, anytime it's a movie with white people and the main character is white, which I watch a lot of those movies, a lot of the good actors are white as well as black, it's a eclectic group of actors. I don't discriminate. Whenever it's white people, and the ending is good, they start making noise campaign as if I was rooting against the white people. They've been doing this for months, and I know they have seen that I've been making comments about the fact that they do this. They know what they're doing. They have been, every time they do it, I make a comment like, what the heck? Why are they doing this? So it's to the point where now I've gotten sensitized to it, and I feel weird when I'm watching these videos. Even if I can tell that it's going to end good for the person, I still get the weird expression on my face. And also with House, he always figures it out. Like, anybody that watches the show knows that he always figures it out last minute. So the patient rarely, I think maybe there was like one episode where a patient dies. Like, he always figures it out. So anyway, as the thing is happening, I'm making the stupid faces because I don't know what to do with my face. I know they're all staring at me. I know that constantly when I watch these type of shows, specifically with white people, right? And it's going to be a good ending for the person, which oftentimes that's what happens. The protagonist usually wins. They'll make noise campaign like I wanted the person to lose or I wanted a bad ending for them. And so earlier I was having that awkward look on my face because I just kind of felt that same sensitization. First of all, I'm sensitized to white people. They've been pushing the race thing real hard recently. And I'm sensitized to females too. So it's not just white people, I'm sensitized to women, and I've said this already. Because also, when women come on the screen, it can be black, white, Asian, Indian, it doesn't matter. They're making noises. So they're purposely trying to sensitize me to females and to white people, right? So I got a little bit awkward. I got the awkward look on my face, when things started going however it was going with her. When things were bad, I had the awkward look. When things started going good, I had the awkward look. It was just awkward all through and through. But I'm like, this is what they're doing on purpose to make me not feel comfortable about watching movies. So I'm going to watch what I want to watch. This is how it's been recently. I'm like, I'm going to watch movies. I'm not going to let them stop me from watching movies. So anyways, I got the awkward look on my face. They used that as an opportunity. They always do this to now start to push and propel the false narrative and try to tear me down and come for my self-esteem, right? So as soon as that happened, all of a sudden I noticed that, all of a sudden House, they kept, first of all, inserting the word bullshit, but then House starts praising one of the white doctors, the female doctor, is like, you're so beautiful. You could have been a model. You could have been anything. And you chose to be a doctor. Whatever else he was saying, you could have anything you want. This is what they do. They always do this when they're trying to paint the false narrative, and then they'll insert the word bullshit, or they'll insert the word ugly about something random. Like they'll say, oh, what ugly shoes. This is what they do to try to paint the false narrative. Meanwhile, all day long, you're trying to come for my self-esteem. All day long, actively trying to come for my self-esteem, like I'm not smart enough to realize what's going on. So I just kind of like snicker. For me, it's funny, but at the same time, they're all staring at me while this is happening, mind you. They're all staring at me while this is happening and making noises. So it makes me laugh, but at the same time, it makes me uncomfortable, and it makes me get this weird look on my face, and they're trying to humiliate me. But I also realized, again, why they're doing what they're doing. I realize why they're doing what they're doing. Anytime I go on my Facebook and I look at my pictures and I see that I got likes on something, this is such an ignorant thing, but I'm telling you, this is what they do. I will go on the technology, all of a sudden they're throwing stuff about being bald-headed, and I'm hearing slamming in the background. Like, this is the crazy stuff that's happening. I'm hearing revving in the background. The other night I was at work. I went on my Facebook. They started sending stuff with the technology. I'm hearing revving in the background. I'm like, what? I'm realizing what's going on, and they're purposely trying to paint certain narratives, and they're purposely trying to make me feel low about myself. I realize what they're doing. But even with me realizing what they're doing, I still feel the discomfort, because all these people are staring at me. Can you imagine? Like, think about this. You're being roasted, right? Because it might as well be a person standing there roasting you with what they do with the technology. You're being roasted, and you have a bunch of people around staring at you, and some of them don't like you. Imagine what that feels like. It doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how confident you are. You are going to look anxious. You're going to look awkward. You're going to look uncomfortable, and that's the intention. It's a torture tactic. And it's also a tactic to tear down your self-esteem. So for me specifically, in my targeting, it's them using women of different races to try to tear down my self-esteem and to create this false narrative. With other targets, they do different things. If you guys check out I don't remember, let me see. If y'all check out my part 3 example of the shadow networking software used on targets, you'll see what they were doing with this target. With him, it's something different. With him, it's not a race thing. So for him, they were coming for his weight, and trying to make him feel like he was overweight. When in all actuality, he was actually skinny. He had lost weight. Apparently, he used to have more meat on him, and then the targeting made him lose weight. But they would constantly be coming for his weight, and he wasn't even overweight. When I actually saw a picture of the guy, he was actually a handsome guy. Coming for his weight, sending overweight people apparently, no disrespect to overweight people, because, they like to sensitize me to stuff and make it seem like I'm saying stuff I'm not saying and villainizing me. But he was literally saying this in several of his videos. He was documenting it. It's like they were hiring overweight gang stalkers to purposely, like how they have white gang stalkers and females coming around me. With him, it was overweight people. They were purposely having come around him to sensitize him, and through the technology, roasting overweight people and inadvertently roasting him while all these people are staring at him. So these are tactics they use on all targets. It just will vary depending on your targeting. So anyways, that's what they were doing earlier, right? So of course I started getting more of an awkward look on my face, but I refused to take the thing off. I'm like, they're not going to do this to me. I know what they're doing. They want me to feel so uncomfortable that I don't want to watch shows anymore. So I'm like, I'm going to watch whatever I want to watch, and I don't care what they do, right? So I continue to watch my shows, but of course that sensitization is still happening. So a little while ago now, let me document what happened, because I want to hurry up and get off this thing. I'm tired. And I need to rest, y'all. I have a big full day ahead of me tomorrow. It's just, I don't even know what to expect. It's just so much stuff going on. I'm trying to get it together, and this video's too long already. So anyways, now I put on this movie that I had kind of heard reviews about already. It's called Breathe. What is it called? Let me see what it's called. Hold on a second, y'all. I don't have time to look for it right now, y'all, because I came out of the app, but it's with Jennifer Hudson and Common, that movie about the oxygen on Earth running out. I think it's called Breathe or Don't Breathe or something like that, or Breathe In, Don't Breathe In, something like that. The lady from Resident Evil, the main character from Resident Evil, she's in the movie. Jennifer Hudson's in there and Common's in there, that movie. Hold on, y'all, let me set up. Ugh. Sorry, I was laying there and my belly's full of food. I actually just ate not too long ago. So anyways, I put that movie on. And basically what happened is Common in the movie is a physicist. And he has a family. His wife is Jennifer Hudson, and they have a daughter together. They live in New York. And basically from the research he was doing, he kind of figured out that Earth was going to run out of oxygen soon, right? So he decided to create this underground bunker with this built-in oxygen system that he put together. But unfortunately, the system had flaws in it. So he was able to make a system that was able to sustain the life of him and his family for a certain amount of months. But after a while, it was going to fail, and it wouldn't be able to sustain life anymore. And so when his father passed away in the beginning of the movie, he went and he took his father to a burial ground, and he let the wife know, but not the daughter, that he wasn't going to return. Because if he came back, the oxygen would run out quicker. So the daughter came out with the same brain as him, where she has, that same mindset, and she can figure out things. She's good at chemistry and physics, etc. She kind of was getting an idea of how to fix the machine. She was looking at it and looking at things she could do to fix it. And so he was hoping she could figure out how to fix it. And if he left, that would give her more time to figure out how to fix it so her and the mom could survive. So he left and he didn't come back, right? So that's the point I'm at in the movie right now, right? So meanwhile, the mom and the daughter are living there by themselves. Mind you, this is something that's very plausible. This could really happen. Like with global warming and the way that things are in the world right now with pollution and etc. Like something like that could actually happen. It's really scary to think about. I like movies like that. And I love science fiction movies. Anyways, so this lady shows up now. This lady and this guy. And she rings the buzzer. They're in this underground bunker, mind you. And there's a camera set up outside, and they have the place shut down, right? So you cannot get in there unless you have the code to get in. So they see through the camera that, in front of the bunker is this lady and this guy, right? And they come in to try to get into the place. They're knocking. Mind you, it's the mother and the daughter by themselves. No man in the house, right? Excuse me. And the mom didn't look like she was that tough. I mean, she's tough as in like a badass. Like, I'll defend my own, and she has a gun and stuff. But she didn't really look like, if I need to fist fight, I don't know what would be going down, really. She didn't really look like that type of strength there, like that, So I just think, she was moving cautiously about the whole situation, which is understandable when the world was the way that it was. It's this kind of thing where it was almost like a dystopian thing. Not really, though, because it's not like there was this, leadership, authoritarian leadership running the show and calling the shots and forcing people to do stuff. It wasn't like that. But the reason I say dystopian is because it was like this end time type thing where everything was shut down and, there wasn't many people alive, and, it was like a survival of the fittest type of environment. So that's what I mean. Everything was dusty outside and a lot of people had passed away because of the situation. And so scarcity, taking place, food scarcity, no oxygen. They have this life-saving oxygen machine inside of their apartment. So not to use this word, but this literally would make them a target, right? If anyone knew about it. So this lady comes, right, with her, I don't know what he is to her. I don't even think that's her man, because the way they were interacting once they finally got inside, I don't think that's her man. I think that's just somebody that's rolling with her camp. But she and this dude pull up to the apartment, walk up to the apartment. They're trying to get in. They knock. They ring the buzzer. The mom, she's looking at them through the camera. She said, "How can I help you?" So the lady's explaining, I knew your husband, right? She said, "I knew your husband. I worked with him. I was a physicist with your husband. And I know about the machine he was building. Can I please come and look at it? I would like to try and build a machine like that myself." So, of course, the mom is moving cautious, which is understandable with the way that the society was, where not too many people were alive. You're dealing with scarcity, right? So you're dealing with people that are desperate for oxygen, desperately trying to survive, and desperate for food and supplies, etc. So she's moving cautious. She has a daughter and no one else in the apartment with her. So that's understandable. And reasonably, most people would understand that. But again, because it's me watching the show, and it happened to be two white people standing outside, and the mom and the daughter inside are black, they keep doing this dumb shit. It's so irritating to me, where they're so subjective. They refuse to be objective in anything. All they see is color. They're not even looking at the scenario. All they see is color and a way to sensitize Sharifa. They're not even being objective in anything. Because typically, I know if it weren't the situation where I was watching it, they would have looked at it like, okay, I understand why she's moving cautious. She's in here with her little young daughter by herself. Her husband is not here. Two random strangers out of nowhere, one's a man, came up to the door and is trying to get inside. And I don't know if I can trust them, right? So anyway, that's how she's moving. She's just talking to them like, "Look, I don't know if I could trust y'all. I don't know if I'm letting y'all up." And the lady's like, "Please, I know your husband. I worked with him." So she's just questioning the lady, trying to see if the lady's legit. Like if she really knew him, or if she had came across him while he was out there, and maybe mugged him or whatever, got info about the bunker, and is now trying to get in and lie and claim she knew him. So anyways, eventually, Jennifer Hudson, the mom, does come down and open the door. But she says, and it's the same thing I thought in my head, I said, you know what? I would have let the lady up. I literally thought this in my head. I said I would have let the lady up, because the daughter was trying to convince the mom to let the lady up. Because she said, if she's a physicist, then she can help me to figure out how to fix the machine. Because remember, y'all, the machine had a flaw in it. So the daughter was like, let her up. Let's trust them, right? So the mom said, you know what? I'm going to go down and I'm going to tie the man up. And she said, and I'll let the lady up. So basically she went down to her gun and she made the lady tie the guy up. And she was going to let the lady come up. Before she did that, I was thinking that in my head. When she was going back and forth with the daughter about whether or not she should let them up, I said, you know what? I understand why she's being cautious. I said, if I were her, I would probably tie the man up. I literally said this, and this is what really happened, I thought this. I know they heard my thoughts. They still just want to create bullshit. So I thought in my head, you know what? If I were her, I would tie the man up and I would let the lady come up, because she don't have no man there to help her, no husband. She don't really look like she could fight like that. I would I would have the man tied up and let the woman up. Y'all, let me just finish this video. I could done see what's gonna happen. You saw my mom calling. Y'all know how that goes. Let me finish this when I go to work. I just want to document what happened. It's just irritating to me because, again, it's the same stupidness where I'm being stared at. And anyway, I'll talk about it when I go to work, y'all. I'll finish the video when I go to work. Alright, y'all, I'm back to finish the video. It's actually been about a week since I made that last clip that you just heard. And now I'm about to make 2 more clips. This clip here, you're going to be hearing at the end of the video, right? And this clip is a continuation of what you heard in the last clip, obviously. At this point, if you're at this point in the video, I know you heard the clip that just ended where my mom was calling. This is a continuation of that clip. And I know if you're in this point of the video, you've also heard the beginning clip at the beginning part of the video where I documented what took place today at orientation and how it felt like I instantly got gaslit about my reaction to what happened today in orientation. So right now I'm creating this clip, right? I haven't made this clip yet, and I haven't even made the clip that I just referenced, that I told you was going to be at the beginning of the video. So this is a week later. The only clip I made is the last clip you just heard. But at this point, like I said, if you're at this point in the video, you'll have heard the clip that I haven't made yet, right? The clip that I'm going to attach to the beginning of the video documenting something that took place today. Similar to what happened in the last clip, just PTSD sensitization and then reactive abuse, getting gaslit for your PTSD reaction or response to programming and sensitization. A similar occurrence, I don't need to tell you this. Like I said, I haven't made the video yet, but obviously when I make it, like I said, I'm going to attach it to the beginning of the last clip in the beginning of this video, so you'll have heard it already. So I don't want to start saying stuff that I know you already heard, but just know as I'm making this clip now, I haven't made that beginning clip that you will have already heard at this point in the video. Anyway, let me try to hurry up, y'all. So this is a continuation of the last clip, right? So what I was just telling you what was happening in that Don't Breathe movie. So anyways, in my head, and remember with the neuromonitoring technology, they can hear your thoughts. In my head, I was thinking, well, I would have let the lady up, because if it's a matter of life and death and the machine isn't working and the daughter's having trouble figuring out how to fix, the machine, if there's another physicist nearby that can help, then that would be beneficial to everyone. So I would have let her up, but I would have tied up the man. The same thing that the mother actually went down and did is what I thought in my head before she went and did it, right? So they heard my thoughts, and they heard that I was being trusting to a certain degree. But obviously in my thoughts, I was also thinking, I understand her concern and why she was moving cautiously because of the things I mentioned in the last clip. Anyways, so she goes down and the mom speaks to the lady and directs her. The mom had a gun and she's pointing it at the lady after she opens up the bunker. She tells the lady, tie up your partner, basically the guy, right? She said, I'm going to let you up, but the guy stays down here, tie him up. So she ties him up with zip ties. The mom throws zip ties at her. And as she's tying him up, this third guy comes out of nowhere and rushes her and shoves her and hops on top of her into the apartment, into the bunker. So she's tussling with the dude. She ends up getting the bunker closed. The lady flips out because apparently the guy was a part of this lady's camp, the lady that was trying to get inside. And she starts flipping out because she's like, oh, fuck, he messed things up. So apparently he wasn't supposed to do that. But they obviously didn't communicate before approaching the bunker. And so he was thinking that they were going to try to bum rush and get inside and force their way inside to have access to the machine when the lady was trying to do it amicably, which again is why I understand and understood the mother's concern. Because look at the mindset of one of the people in the camp, and it's not that he was a bad person, but that's how he was planning to handle things. So anyways, she's tussling with the dude and, he ends up getting shot. They end up at the top of the back inside the bunker with the daughter. The guy ends up getting shot and they end up tying him up and communicating with the lady and the guy in the front through the speaker, the buzzer that they were communicating with in the last clip before she opened the bunker up. And so the lady's just apologizing profusely and saying she doesn't know why he did that and da-da-da-da. And the mom is like, listen, I don't want to hear anything you have to say now. Move the fuck away from the bunker. At this point now, she's defensive, in complete defense mode. And so the guy was apologizing. He said, no, I'm sorry. I thought we were supposed to rush in. I thought we were supposed to, whatever. And so it turned into this big, huge tussle, and it turned into the lady and the guy that was outside deciding to force their way inside. So they took a power drill and they were trying to drill their way in. They had safety precautions, the mother inside. It's like the father really thought this thing through. And so they had some sort of magnet that they're able to put against the door and stop the drill from drilling through. So the people thought of a different way to get in. They went to the roof, and apparently there was like this ventilation thing attached to the oxygen machine inside. And so they started tampering with that and making the polluted air get inside the bunker. And so the mother had to go out and face them. So she went out on the roof and she was kind of pointing the gun at them, and it was kind of like this shootout type thing going on. And the guy ended up sneaking around the building and climbing on top of the bunker and holding the mom hostage. And so they ended up basically holding the mom hostage and getting inside the bunker. So they found out that the mother had a car. It was a rechargeable, I think like a Tesla, something like that. And they ended up making her drive to, because they couldn't get inside the bunker. The daughter ended up getting tied up. It's this big, long, toddler thing that ended up happening. While the mother was outside dealing with the two outside, the daughter was inside with the guy that was tied up. He ended up getting loose because the air inside was polluted from the people outside messing with the filter thing. And so she had mercy on him because he was saying, please put a mask on me, I can't breathe. She put a mask on him, and when she went to do that, he somehow got loose from the ties and ended up holding her hostage inside the bunker. But the gunshot wound he had was actually bleeding out the whole time, and he didn't realize it. And so he ended up dropping, down on the floor and, unaliving, And so the daughter was tied up because he tied the daughter up. And so the daughter's sitting there tied up in the bunker with nobody in there with her. And so the mother is outside. The guy that was tied up with the zip ties, that the lady that was with him untied him. Remember, the mom made her tie him up. She untied him. Those two were outside and the mom was outside. And so he stayed there and while the mom and the lady left. And the reason they left was because they needed to get back in the bunker and they couldn't get in without a key. The daughter had the code from inside to open the bunker, but she couldn't since she was tied up. So the mother and the lady that was trying to get inside left inside of the mother's vehicle. There was a little charge left in it. And they drove out to the burial site where the husband, the father that I was talking about in the last clip, had driven to bury his father that had passed away at the beginning of the movie. So they drove out there to the burial site basically to try to get the key off of, it sounds so morbid, but basically find his body, because remember, he went out there basically to unalive so that the mom and the daughter could survive. And so they drove out there basically to get the key off of his body in order to get into the bunker, because there was no other way to get in without the key if someone didn't open it from inside. And so while the mom and the lady, right, that came with these two dudes left in the car to get the key, one of the guys that the lady came with, the one that was tied up initially outside, he stayed there at the bunker. So they went over there, right, the mom and the lady. And when they got there, she saw her husband. She did confirm that he was unalived, and he was laying there. And she got the key basically off of his person. And she's crying and grieving. And the lady's like, okay, come on, we got to go. We got to go. It's getting late. It's getting dark. We got to go back. She said, this is my husband. She's flipping out, like, have some compassion, because this is her first time seeing him since he left. And he's, laying there unalived, unfortunately. But she knew this was the case. She knew that's why he left, but it's just now seeing it, so she's really grieving in that moment. And they go, after she finally gets the key and has her moment with him, they try to start the car, and the car's completely, powerless. The power had left. It didn't have enough charge to make it back. So the lady had to leave on foot, and the mom had to stay behind. I think what happened was her leg was injured from the fight or whatever happened. So she had to stay behind with the body, but the lady promised to come back for her. She said once she got in the bunker and looked at the oxygen machine, she was going to use a bike or something they had over there to ride back and get the mom. The mom begged her. She said, please come back for me. My daughter is all I have. You see, her father is here, unalive. So please come back for me. This is all... It's this weird thing that happens. My face gets this weird look when I say serious things. I don't know if this has ever happened to anyone before. I've seen memes like this before, where you're talking about something that's serious and you shouldn't like do a certain face, but because you're being stared at, that face is trying to happen. I can't really explain this. This weird thing that happens to me sometimes. I don't know what to do with my face, so I start doing stupidness, because it's awkward and I don't know what to do with my face. It's just this weird thing that happens sometimes. But anyways, so the lady that was trying to get into the bunker took the key and walked back fast to the bunker, and it was quite a walk too, and they were losing sunlight, and the mom had to stay behind because she was injured, but the lady promised her that she would come back and get her. Lady gets back to the bunker, links back up with the dude, and they get inside. She's looking at the ventilation system, the oxygen machine, and the daughter's still tied up on the floor. The daughter's like, hey, where's my mom? Did you do something to my mom? The lady said, look, bad news. And she broke it to the daughter, that the father had left to unalive, basically, so that she and the mom could survive. And also told her, what happened with the car and why the mom ended up staying behind, and telling her, don't worry, I'm going to go get your mother. The daughter started flipping out, like, I don't believe you. You killed both of them. You killed both of them. She's flipping out. And so the lady said, no, trust me, I didn't. Your mom is still alive. She's fine. I'm going to go get her. So she's telling the dude that she's with, the one that's still alive, look, I got to go get the mom. I got to go, look, they're making noise because they know what's about to happen. I'm telling him, look, I got to go get the mom. I promised that I was going to bring her back. He said, why? He's just like, why? She said, because I have to go get her. I promised, her daughter's here. I have to go get her. He said, who cares? He said, just look at the machine. We finally got what we wanted. Just look at the machine. And so she's like, what? She said, no, I can't. I promised her. And he said, really? He said, who cares? He said, we're here. We're in here now. Whatever. And so she starts really contemplating, like, that proverbial angel and devil on your shoulder thing, where she knows the right thing to do. She knows what she promised this lady. But then the devil part of it is where she's the selfish part, where, like, we're in a desperate survival situation. We're in here. We got what we needed. It's going to be a lot of effort to go back and get this lady. Oh, well, survival of the fittest type of thing. Like, she's kind of having this war in her mind where she knows the right thing to do, but she's warring with the fact that, well, I don't have to do the right thing, and so she's sitting there. You could see, like, her contemplating, literally, you could see it on her face. She's contemplating what to do. Should I do the right thing or not? Right? And the guy's just, like, in her ear telling her, whatever. And then in the other ear, the daughter screaming at her, please get my mom, please. So she has this basically child, because it's a teenager, screaming in her ear, begging her. And then you have on the other end this guy that's on her team that's telling her, look, forget it. We got what we wanted. Let's get out of here. So I just said, you see, I said, you see, they were making noise campaign outside for me thinking that I understand where the mom is coming from. They so badly want to make it a race thing. I said, but look at what's happening. This is exactly why I understood her moving cautiously. And I said, you could tell she's good, but he's not. I said, he's no good. That's what I thought in my head. I said, you see? I said, I wouldn't have trusted. I understand why she didn't want to trust them. That's what I thought in my head, or not why she didn't want to trust them, why she wanted to tie him up and only let the female come up. Something like that I was thinking in my head. As I'm thinking that thought, or I think I said it out loud, actually. I can't remember, because of course they're always engaging with me when I'm watching these shows, specifically shows that have sensitization in it. I'm saying these things now to prove my point, because they were making noise campaign and trying to gaslight me and make it a race thing rather than looking at the situation objectively. Do you know that I got a call? I gotta be careful about this again, because I don't want to make problems, but, like, I strongly suspect this is why it happened, but I don't know. And I don't want to bear false witness, and I don't want to get in problems. But remember, everyone is watching me always. So coincidentally, then this happened. I was just like, all day it had been, sensitization with the race thing. I told you on the last clip what happened with the house movie. And so all day long they had been doing that in the neighborhood, doing noise campaigns and, all this type of stuff like that, and the plane flying overhead. Now I'm here watching this movie, and I was right about what I was thinking. And, they still kind of just tried to, it almost felt like, create this thing from it, is what it felt like. And so this is why I have the awkward look when I'm watching sensitization, whether it's the race sensitization, the child sensitization, or whatever it is, whatever sensitization it is that they sensitize me to. I have these PTSD responses sometimes. Like, sometimes I get an awkward look on my face, or, I explained this to you all already. Sometimes it's like I'm looking at the screen and they're making noises because I'm looking at the sensitization awkwardly. So then I start to look off in the corner of the screen rather than looking at the person on the screen because I feel awkward. They're just having a field day with this thing. It's like a poppy show. It's like a real freaking poppy show, freak show type thing. So anyways, it's typical the people in the neighborhood to just be going ham, but that's because that's who I'm around when I'm home. When I'm out, it's the people around me that, wherever I'm at. That's how the targeting works. So anyways, I get this call from one of the supervisors for the job. I'm working 2 jobs now, y'all. I got hired on with the corrections officer job. I told you all this already with the new job jitters video, right? And I actually started orientation. Today was actually day 3 of orientation. And like I said, you heard what happened at the beginning of the video, right? This video, that last clip you heard, was made before orientation ever even happened, right? Yeah, ever even started. And so it's a coincidence that it kind of plays off of the same theme of sensitization, PTSD, reactive abuse, gaslighting, that type of stuff. And I'm not saying that the job is gaslighting me. I'm just talking about the targeting in general and the gang stalking. Like, when I left the job, the things that started happening because of this reaction that I had to sensitization and programming. Anyway, so I got a call from the supervisor though. So I'm working 2 jobs right now. It's like really been hard, but it's going to get better once things regulate and I work out the schedule. But I'm doing the night shift security every night of the week, and then Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm sitting in this room all day long doing orientation for this new job. But I'm specifically talking about the night shift job. I had a supervisor call me after that moment happened where it was revealed that I was right, pretty much. I had a call from one of the supervisors for my night shift job, and she was telling me about actually the same Bureau of Corrections job that I got, the corrections officer job. I do security there with the night shift job. I work security at the booth at that place where I'm going to be, if the Mossad is willing, a corrections officer. I do security there 2 nights out of the week on the weekends. So it's like the jobs are interconnected in a way, So anyway, she calls me about that post, and she tells me that she asked me, did I take toilet paper or any toiletries from the booth, right? It's a nice little booth with AC, and it has a fridge, and they have things in there for us to use. They have a bathroom, they have toilet paper, hand towel, sanitizer, etc. I never take those things. I always use the sanitizer. There was one time, and this was months ago, when I suspect I had COVID, where I was there and I had used the toilet paper. I was blowing my nose all night long, and I had forgotten to bring my roll of toilet paper. This was months ago, y'all. And I took this one roll off the wall that was already halfway used, and I was using it all night long, and it was almost used out to the point where I would have thrown it away before leaving. And I accidentally took it with me. This was months ago, y'all, when I suspected I had COVID. Remember I told you I made that video about what was going on, where I had gotten sick, and, it was like this scary experience because I'm targeted. And so I started to immediately treat myself naturally with oregano oil, vitamin C, coconut water, and I was able to clear the thing out real quick. Anyway, this was around that time, months ago, when I took that one roll of toilet paper, and the roll was already almost done, and I did it by accident. They even heard me thinking in my head, oh shoot, I didn't mean to take this. Since then, I have not taken anything out of that booth. I make sure not to. I bring my own paper. I still use their paper as well, so I'm not going to sit here and lie. But I've never taken anything, and they know that. They can see me on these insect drones, right? They know that I don't take anything from in there. So that's what made me even more so feel like it was in response to my reaction to this movie. The supervisor called me, and she was like, I'm at BOC, and she said, I don't know what's going on, nurse. That's my last name. She said, but they're saying that, somebody took some toilet paper and some hand towel from in this office. Did you or your brother take anything? I said, no. I said, we have stuff. We're not hurting for supplies. We have our own stuff. She said, okay, well, they're being very petty over here about it. And they feel like somebody was stealing remember I told you to like to throw the word stealing at me. That's one of the false accusations as a way to make me feel accused, because they say I bear false witness. But then also too, it's the element of not trusting. They keep throwing the word trust at me, because I said I had trust issues. And with a lot of these things that occurred, even the Airbnb thing, you could say it had an element of not trusting, I guess, to it. But mainly they play off of that with if you listen to my full story, you'll know what I'm talking about. The incident with the cyber-stalking, cyberbullying guy. And even with the people in my close circle with the text message thing, it's just a play off of not trusting people. So to sensitize me, they're always throwing the word trust at me, and then purposely making me feel like an untrustworthy person as a way to make me, I guess, like retribution, basically. So anyway, she's talking about the stealing thing. She said, well, they're being very petty about it, and they're going to check the cameras. Apparently there's cameras in there. I didn't know, because I'm so used to cameras following me anyway. The insect drones, that when I go to a place that actually has cameras, it's no different to me. So anyway, she was telling me they're going to check the cameras. They're being very petty about this. They're going to keep an eye out on it. So just make sure, and I just felt like it was a reaction to my reaction to the movie, because everybody's watching me in real time, but I'm not certain. And I don't want to bear false witness. And I already said I'm not going to make videos about my jobs. I already told you all what happened to me a few months ago with the night shift job. Said I'm not going to make videos about my jobs. But I did the video about what happened in orientation. And then also this video here about, no, I'm not going to get gaslit. I'm hearing a bird in the background. No, they're not going to gaslight me. You're not going to do that to me. Because for the first 2 days of orientation, when it was full of sensitization, the training, I was just snickering about it. I just felt like they were trying to teach me a lesson. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm just grateful for the job. But then when I actually had an awkward reaction to the 3 days of programming today, and then they gaslit me about it, I'm like, no, I'm going to talk about it in a video. Like, come on now. Like, if I'm going to be getting gaslit about it, and it's like you're running with that reaction, then I'm like, no, okay, then I do need to document and talk about it. Anyway, so with this job though, with the night shift job, I have not made videos since what happened months ago. Like I have been clear of making videos about that job, you know, and I'm grateful too. The secretary has given me a lot of hours. Things have been really good with the job. I have not made videos about them at all. But that one moment happened, I was just like, my God, it had been all day. Not of them. They hadn't done anything, but just people around, like I said, in the neighborhood, doing noise campaigns while the technology is kind of like tag teaming and sending the sensitization, and I'm sitting there looking awkward and feeling like a freaking freak show on display with all these people staring at me. You know, and then that moment at the end of the day happened with that movie where, again, the race sensitization and the lack of objectivity, you know, like not looking at the situation objectively, but rather with personal bias because of your preconceived notion of me and who you think I am or how you think my mindset is. So anyways, so I was just like, I'm gonna make a video about this. I'm like, this is no. I was like, I don't make videos about the job, and this isn't gonna be like I'm venting or saying anything bad about them, because I'm not. But this is a moment where it's just like the program more so than specifically the job. They're just a part of the whole grand scheme of things, you know? I was just like, this is an example, a prime example of sensitization, PTSD, trauma, reactive abuse. Like, I had to let me not put the word abuse in there, but it is reactive abuse where you're having these reactions to being sensitized. Let me specify so I don't feel like I'm saying anything bad about them. But you're having these reactions to being sensitized, and then it's almost like you get like gaslit about the reaction, but really it's just because they're looking at the situation subjectively, rather than objectively. Everything is about personal feelings and bias when it comes to targeting. Nothing is objective. Everything is subjective when you are targeted. Anyways, y'all, so that's it with that. I want to hurry up. Look, it's 22 minutes and I didn't want this video to be too long. Remember, I told you at this point now, you will have heard the clip in the beginning where I talk about what happened in orientation today and the sensitization that's taken place over the course of the week, but I haven't made the clip yet. So I need to try to hurry up and get through this because I don't want this video to be any longer than 2 hours. So I already have an hour. That last clip that you guys heard was an hour. This clip here that I'm doing, I'm trying not to make it any longer than 30 minutes. And then hopefully I succeed. You will know now, like I said, at this point, you've heard the beginning clip. Hopefully I succeeded. I want that beginning clip where I document what happened with orientation to be like no more than 30 minutes long, because I don't even want to make videos about jobs and get retribution, but it's just like defensive me type thing, because I've been through so much where I got kind of gaslit about these reactions. So I'm traumatized. When I have a reaction to something, I immediately want to talk about it. But I'm not going to be doing that with the job. Like, if I get in there and stuff happens, I'm not going to be making videos. You can't. Like, this is a law enforcement position where confidentiality is like a must. You can get like locked up if you start saying stuff that you're not supposed to say. Even with my job prior to this one where I was a teacher, there was a level of confidentiality. You can't go around just spilling your guts about what's going on with your students and stuff, right? Or what you're seeing in the school. You're seeing personal information for people on a daily basis. So it's the same concept. So I won't be making these videos if things take place in the jail, obviously. But here, for the orientation thing and the reaction I had, I don't see anything wrong with making this video and defending myself, especially with the gaslighting that started happening instantaneously right after. Anyways, let me quickly finish this up. Now I have, like 5 minutes to finish this video up. So let me now go over to what I want to show you guys. The race sensitization, like I told you all, is them purposely trying to make me feel this like insecurity about myself, and it's almost like create this feeling of, I don't know, envy. That's what they're purposely trying to do, like create this feeling of envy towards that race, or trying to paint this false narrative of that being the case, right? So one of the things I like to do is take something that I said out of my own mouth in transparency, like I told you on the last clip, and come for my hair. I haven't had insecurity about my hair in years, damn near a decade and change. The last time I had insecurity about my hair was when I was a child, when I was younger. because I didn't know how to take care of natural hair. Like I told you all, that hasn't been the case in adulthood. I've had hair on my head, long natural hair. And unfortunately, now that I'm targeted this bad, at this point, this is the time where I chose not to take care of my hair. But it's due to stress. It's due to everything else that's going on around me. I'm not even taking care of my face, y'all. Y'all should see how my skin looks. I'm going to show you a picture of how my skin looked prior to my targeting going viral, just so y'all can see. I've always had skin issues. It runs in my family on my mom's side. So I've always had skin issues. My older sister, she's blessed. She has skin that's super smooth, no blemishes. She came out that way, right? But my younger sister, myself, I want to say both of my younger brothers, but the oldest younger brother, he's kind of more so like my older sister, where he doesn't really have the skin issues like that. He has a little something sometimes, but he has smooth skin for the most part too. But my youngest brother, the baby, myself, and my younger sister, the three of us came out like my mom, where we have the skin issues. So off and on throughout the years, we have had, different things with our skin, like our face. Like sometimes we'll have a breakout if the weather's bad or if we're not taking care of ourselves. But I haven't had skin issues in years, y'all, since my early 20s, when I was super stressed out and I was in school and I was working and I was doing this and I was doing that and I was drinking back then too in my early 20s. I'm not living that type of lifestyle right now. I am super stressed out. That's what it is. It's not a diet thing, actually, because I'm also doing a lot of dairy now. Remember, I'm bodybuilding. I don't usually drink cow milk. For years, I've been somebody that drank soy milk, almond milk, oat milk, that type of stuff. I haven't drank cow milk in years. Like I'll every now and then maybe have a milkshake, or a latte. But like for milk that I'm buying in the house to eat with cereal and stuff, for years I've been the kind to use oat milk and stuff because milk is mucus. If you get grass-fed cow milk, then that's a decent form of it, right? It's still mucus. And people like Dr. Sebi will suggest you don't drink it at all. But if you get the grass-fed cow milk, right, that's a healthier, more pure form of it, and you can get sustenance from that. But you can still get sustenance and nutrients from the everyday regular cow milk too. But there are also negative effects to it. It messes with your skin. It can cause internal issues if you drink it too much, because it is mucus at the end of the day. And just think about it. It's really cow pus. It's the pus that the mother creates to feed her big, huge calf. Think about how big a cow is. That's not really something a human is meant to drink. If you are going to drink animal milk, the best kind to drink is actually goat milk. They say that's the closest thing to human breast milk. But I really tried to look for that. I did. I was looking all over Ireland. I couldn't find it. And when I did find it, I found the powder form. I found it in a small little can. It's super expensive. So it's kind of difficult to get access to that. And so I've just been kind of, doing the cow milk for now. And a lot of protein powder, a lot of meat, that type of stuff. So that's why I've gained so much weight. But it's also taken an effect on my skin. And then also the other thing that's going on is the water situation. I told y'all last year we moved to a new neighborhood. We moved into my grandfather's house, right? So we're connected to the public water system. And I've heard stuff about the water, like it has rust and stuff in it. And so that's when I noticed my skin really started breaking out bad, really was when we moved into this house. So I think it's a mix of those things, and then also too, I'm not doing the things I used to do. I'm the kind that puts on turmeric mask and, face mask, mint mask, all kind of, strippiness in my face to take care of my face, because I'm the kind that does get acne. But all of those things have taken place. There are different factors happening. I'm super stressed out. My targeting has worsened. So my stress level is out the roof. I'm surprised my blood pressure ain't going through the roof. And it's really just because I've been taking care of myself physically, staying physically active. I've been working out like a freaking Olympic athlete. That's why I think the diet ain't doing too much. And also too, I'm kind of eating a little healthier, right? A little bit. I'm eating a little bit healthier. As far as my diet goes outside of the milk and stuff. Like I'm eating rice, I'm eating broccoli, some sort of healthy. I've been trying to do healthy meat sources, but recently I've kind of slacked off and been doing Angus burgers. That's where I'm messing up a little bit too. Before I was doing wild caught salmon, before I was doing grass-fed, grass-finished ground meat, but those things are expensive, and then it's like takes time to prepare, meal prep. So it's just I'm doing what works for me at the moment, and it's not necessarily the best for my skin. So that's what's going on, right? That's going on. I haven't taken care of my hair this year, as I told you all. I cut it last year. I know they saw how long my hair was last year, and that wasn't even the longest it's been. It's been longer than that. When I was combing it out in the mirror, and it was this big, huge thing, they were making noises outside the window when I was doing it. When I was chopping it off, they were making noises. And now this year, I didn't take care of it, so it didn't grow back as quickly as it normally does. It's very damaged and dry right now. My hair is in a very bad state, and I'm slowly but surely taking care of it and getting it back to where it was. But they're taking advantage of that, and they're using that to help propel the narrative of envy towards other races for having something that all races can have. You know, it's kind of ignorant, the narrative they're trying to spin, because they're trying to paint it like black women can't grow long hair. Excuse me. Now they're flying the fly in my face, because what I'm saying is true. They're trying to paint it like black women can't grow long hair, which is ignorant. It's now they're flying that there. It's ignorant. This is not specific to anyone other than the targeting in and of itself, because everybody is painting the narrative and doing the noise campaigns for it. It's not any specific thing. They're flying the flag around now to try and create whatever they're trying to create, right? And distract me. Anyway, let me try to hurry up, y'all, and show you what I want to show you. I shouldn't have to. Like, in this day and age, like, the info is out there, and I know a lot of people are educated on this stuff. They're purposely, I think, just pushing false narratives, but purposely trying to create this thing, right, because of what I said. Just because my hair is in a bad state doesn't mean I can't grow it long tomorrow, right? All I have to do is start taking care of it, which I have been kind of doing. Not totally yet. I'm going to get it together. I've been more so focused on my body and working. That's what I've been focused on. Gym, diet, work. My face and my hair has suffered, and I'm going to work on it. I kind of am low-key working on my hair, even though I haven't really started working on it yet. And y'all, by the way, even though they're gaslighting me about it, my hair is actually not short, by the way. It's short compared to what it normally is, and that's why they're running with it. And then they keep seeing it in a shrunken, dry state, too, because I haven't been taking care of it. If I flatten my hair right now, I guarantee you my hair is below my collarbone, right? So it's not super short, but it's not long either. But it's not the bald head false narrative they keep purposely trying to portray. Anyway, they keep trying to spin this thing and send me these like low-key ignorant videos about black women that have no hair on their head that's throwing wigs on their head. You know, it's so ignorant. And then trying to, you know, propel and push this narrative of the other ethnicities, you know, sending videos with other women of other ethnicities, right? And showing their hair on purpose to try to create this sense of insecurity in me and paint this ignorant false narrative. That's what they're trying to do, right? It's the stupidest thing ever. I love my hair, and I've learned about it, right? So I'm educated enough to know, not only from personal experience and having had long hair before, but just from doing research and learning about the natural hair community, any woman on this earth can have long hair. She can have the peasiest, driest, you know, little peasy balls, whatever it is. She could have the coarsest, nappiest hair. Even she can grow long hair if she takes care of it. Mind you, I don't have nappy hair anyways. That's even an ignorant comment, you know, because all hair is beautiful. But I don't even have, they like to throw that narrative too. This coarse, my hair is a mix of textures. I have 4C, 4B, and 4A hair. It's just dry, and I haven't been taking care of it. And I know they know how my hair was last year when I was taking care of it. Anyway, so I'm going to show you some pictures, right, to prove my point. Because I'm going to knock down this stupid shit that they keep trying to do. I know what they're trying to do, and you're not fooling me. It's this thing where they try to get you to believe lies about yourself, paint these false narratives, and get you to believe it, right? So I'm going to knock down the narrative. Now, here's some psycho speeding down in the truck now. Noise campaign. Big, loud noise campaign outside. The reason I'm saying psycho is because it's the same loud truck that be harassing me, like, every morning at this post. So that's why I'm reacting the way that I am. You know, it's not like I'm just hearing a random loud noise and assuming it's noise campaign, which even if I were, that would be understandable, right, with what I've been through. But, like, that truck, I know the sound very well. They be doing noise campaigns on me all the time out here. Anyway, so let me try to hurry up, y'all. I want to show y'all a video real quick. I'm on 11% of the nappiest textured, why am I having trouble saying that word? Textured hair that you could have in the African American community. I want to show you that and show you how long it is, right? How long it can grow. This ain't even the longest it can grow. I've seen longer. But I want you to see how long that can grow if you take care of it. And the beauty about natural hair is you can wear it any way you want. You can wear braids, you can wear dreadlocks, you can, if you feel like having straight hair for the day, flat iron it like the girl in this video is going to do, and it's going to be long and voluptuous and thick. You can do a lot of things with natural hair. So you're not fooling me and you're not creating a sense of insecurity, because I already learned about myself and I love it. So nothing that you do can fool me. It's stupid. So anyways, let me show you guys.
This is the type of hair you have when you are
Hold on. No, they were trying to catch me up with this. They purposely said something in the beginning to create something. Let me turn the volume down. But as you guys can see at the bottom, right, it says this is what keratin on 4C hair looks like. Let me turn the volume down. And keratin is, by the way, y'all, keratin is just something that's used to flat iron hair, right? So you put it in and it helps to flat iron the hair.
one of God's favorite, because look at all this hair. It did take us about almost 2 hours to detangle. She wanted something more long lasting than a texture release, so we opted for a keratin treat.
See, y'all, this is, just to give you an example, a little education, this is true 4C hair, meaning you're putting product in it and there's no curl pattern. The hair typing system just talks about curl pattern, right? So some women have hair that's so coarse that it's a zigzag if you look at it under a microscope rather than an actual curl. So that's where the hair typing system comes from. So she has true 4C hair where you see product going in and there's no curl pattern there, right? But the girl has hair on her head. I have some of this texture in my head, but I also have a different texture in my hair. My hair curls up when I moisturize it, like real curl. You're gonna see, right? I'm gonna put some videos up when I start taking care of my hair again. I actually have some old pictures. I just don't feel like looking for them. But my hair actually curls up when I put stuff in it and I moisturize it and I take care of it. Not that that matters, but again, it's the false narrative that they're trying to paint. I know what they're trying to do, right? So anyways, this is an example of true 4C hair. She has nothing but 4C hair. There's no curl pattern there. And also an example of what it looks like for African American hair when it shrinks up. Look, you would say that her hair was not necessarily short, but you wouldn't say she had long hair. Wait till you see her flat iron this thing. And that's what's happening to me. Understand, my hair is shorter than this right now. So that's why they keep calling me bald-headed. And then when I blow out my hair, you can say I have hair on my head. It's just not long and it's not the length that it typically is. Anyway, so let's look at what her hair looks like, right? 4C, the nappiest or coarsest hair you could have. Let's see what her hair looks like when she flat irons it.
And for her, I do try and get my clients to exhaust all options first before they opt for a relaxer, simply because a relaxer makes your hair quite
See, look at this. It's like a plant. Our hair is like living, right? So it's like a plant that we have to water and we have to moisturize and we have to take care of. Or what happens to a plant when you don't take care of it? That's how African American hair is. If you don't take care of that shit, it's going to break. It's going to look crazy, right? You have to take care of it. It's literally your own personal plant and you have to water it and you have to nourish it, and that's how you get results.
Compared to something like a keratin treatment. So that's why we went for that. The keratin treatment really smoothens the hair. I mean, look at it with just one pass. Of course, I'm using my silk press straightener, but that aside, it just gives you this really nice shine and movement. This is the type of hair you have when you first before they opt for hair. I mean, look at it with just one pass. Of course, I'm using my silk press straightener, but that aside, it just gives you this really nice shine and movement.
Do y'all see this? Do you see the body in that shit? Now wait till they add a little more volume. They're gonna put some curl press rods in it, I think. Wait a minute now.
On matte. It is important to note that with the keratin treatment, your curls do get loosened, but you're not going to completely lose your curls just as you would if you get a relaxer. So no, they're not the same thing. I do like the keratin treatment because I feel like you still get a lot of volume compared to if you just get a relaxer, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, here's the final result.
Also, the good thing about not getting a relaxer is that, and doing this instead, is that you can always revert back to your natural hair. All she has to do is hop in the shower and her hair is going to revert back. So that's the good thing about that. I just realized that it's still talking even though I turned down the volume. So you're going to hear the beginning part. Know that that's them shadow networking, trying to create, again, the race division and trying to create this thing. I know what they're doing. But the chosen, whatever stupid thing they said at the beginning, man, not chosen. They said something, again, sounds, almost like prejudice in a way. Like, I know what they were trying to do, and that's not the purpose or the intent of putting the video on.
Just amazing, luscious. I love it. And yes, a texture release is still very good as well. So they're just two different things. It just depends on you and your life.
Look at that. She has hair on her head and it's not a wig or weave. Let's educate ourselves. All right, let's come out of this now. So again, the wigs and the weaves are just protective styling. So you can see a black girl out there wearing a wig, right? On her head, big glue on wig. And when she rips that shit off, that will be underneath, right? Growing. She'll have it in cornrows underneath a stocking cap. It's called protective styling. That's one of the things we do to take care of our hair and get it to grow. And then when she looses it out, you see her real hair. It's a way for us to give our hair a break so that it can grow. And also to switch things up, because wigs look freaking poppin' if you get it laid right. And we're not the only ones that wear wigs. A lot of the people of different ethnicities wear wigs, and celebrities do. It's a big thing in Hollywood. So I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know if they think they're dealing with an idiot or something. But I know what you're doing and it's stupid. The next thing. I want to show you guys these, right? Because the other thing they like to do is, let me just get them off the screen. So I want to stay. I'm showing my family and I never do. I always say people in my close circle, so you never know who I'm talking about, because sometimes I'm referring to like a friend or friend of the family. So that keeps a level of anonymity, right? But I'm showing you now clearly my family, because they keep, another thing too, is trying to throw this ugly thing at me. Because I drag around looking rough most of the time. I'm targeted, right? And also, too, I don't have privacy. So those moments where people drag around rough in their house, you know, those little private moments that nobody sees, I don't get those moments. Everybody sees me at every moment, and I'm not going to be uncomfortable in my own home. And there are moments where I look rough like everyone else. And there are more moments like that than not, because I don't go out as much anymore. I'm targeted. I'm really just going to work, a night shift job. So it's not like when I was teaching where I was wearing heels and I was flattening my hair and everybody was telling me my outfits looked nice. And, you know, I really used to dress nice. I used to get compliments on my outfits all the time. I had so many heels. I gave all my stuff away in Tennessee, when the targeting had amped up, when I tried to relocate in 2022. I'm working night shift security. So I'm wearing the same uniform. I'm wearing sneakers. I'm putting a stocking cap on my head. I have these big black shades on to hide my eyes because of awkwardness from being stared at. I put the mask on, you know, so it's just like I'm dragging around looking rough. And then when I fix myself up, when it's one of those days, rare moments or occasions, when I actually comb my hair and I actually put on lip gloss and simple shit, shade in my eyebrows and put on a decent outfit, I don't even have much clothes. Then they're sending stuff with the technology talking about people that only look good with makeup on, when I'm not even doing much. But again, it's just this thing to get me to believe these lies about myself, to lower my self-esteem. And so that's why I'm now doing this video here, right? To knock down the nonsense. The hair thing, the bald head, stupid, ignorant shit. And then also coming for my looks. You know, I'm trying to paint it like I'm envious of other races and, you know, this is what it is. I come from a very good looking family. Like, all of my siblings could have been models. People actually approached us before, especially my siblings, telling them that they could be models. And the reason I'm saying especially my siblings is because I've always been the rough one. I've always been rough around the edges. I didn't really care how I looked until later in life. You know, I've always been the rough one. I'm going to be honest. You know, there's always that one child. I've always been the rough one. My siblings, like, people have approached them and told them they could model. Every single one of them. And every single one of them attempted to model. My older sister, not photogenic, and she doesn't have the height. She's 5'7", excuse me. My younger sister, she just never did anything with it. You know, she has more so of the potential because she's more of a photogenic person. She has more of the personality for it than my older sister. And she has the height. She's 5'9". But it just never went anywhere. You know, it just was one of those things. And with my brothers, it's the same thing too. Tall, handsome. It just never went anywhere. They took some photos. I think my brother, I think Abercrombie and Finch wanted my youngest brother to do something. And he was doing some photo shoots with them in the mall. Like, so understand I come from an attractive family. I'm not trying to sound narcissistic, but they keep coming for me constantly, and my self-esteem, and like I don't know what it's like to be attractive, and I'm, you know, envious of all these people. I come from a good-looking family. My guy, my girl, whoever you are running this damn shit, I grew up around good-looking people. So this is not, I'm not sitting here staring at people and having an envy towards them, or whatever false narrative you're trying to paint, really specifically about the race thing. And I know why they're doing it. It's not a thing. Like, there are beautiful people of all different ethnicities and all different walks of life, and I appreciate all of it. So stop the bullshit. It's more so like you're coming across as like you're hating on me, when really I understand it's a tactic with the technology, but that's what it's coming across as more than anything else with how they're doing it. So anyways, so here are some pictures, y'all, of natural hair. Just African American girls. I purposely typed in 4C hair. So these are girls that have the coarsest texture that you can have, right? As an African American woman, that zigzag texture I was just telling you all about. Look at how long the hair is when they took care of it, and they watered it, and they nourished it, and they covered it. And again, the versatility. We can wear it straight if we want. We can put in braids. We can put in dreadlocks. Like, there's a plethora of different things we can do with this thing. That's one. That's another one. You can see how long her is. They're saying with her because she has 4C hair, mind you. But what she did was she did heat training. There's something called heat training that you can do to loosen your curl pattern. So some girls do that. They'll put so much heat on their hair that they'll actually intentionally damage their hair in efforts to loosen the curl pattern. It's something called heat training in the natural hair community. And there are people that have extreme views about it. Some people are like pro heat training, and then other people like are so anti heat training. So you can tell she had heat damaged hair prior to straightening it. So her curl pattern looked a little bit looser than these other females in these screenshots, but you could tell that that was heat damaged hair. I know, because I'm a naturalista. I know, right? Because I'm a naturalista. She had, like I said, heat damaged hair. Anyway, so she's somebody that's heat training. It's called heat training. Here's another one. This is some straight 4C hair, as you can see. Right? She didn't even flat iron it. So that's not as long as her hair can get. All she did was a blowout, and then she put some curl rods on it. If this girl were to flat iron her hair right now, it would be down to her hips. That's how shrinkage works. This is another one. 4C hair. She has braids in. You know how long her hair is? That's the thing about natural hair. It shrinks up, and so you can't ever really see our true length unless we stretch out the hair or we flat iron it. Then you see what's going on. Do you see how long her hair is? So it's not an ethnicity-based thing. Any female can have long hair, specifically with African American women. If we take care of it and we water it and we nourish it like the plant that it is, then it's going to grow. I've been there. I'm just having a bad year. So calling me bald-headed isn't hurting me. It's just ignorant. And this is her. This is another one, y'all, that has 4C hair. You see that? She has it flat ironed. And you can see she trimmed it too. So let's stop with the ignorance. Y'all see what I typed in? 4C hair, flat ironed. You see that at the top? So that shadow networking element of things is ignorant. And pictures of my family. So you I myself am attractive, so they can't fool me. This is why, like I said, when I actually put myself together and I look decent, then they try to come for me in a different way. Oh, you only look good with makeup on. No, I'm just a regular woman, right, that cleans up nice, that's being targeted, and I have no privacy. Anyway, I'm the rough one. I always have been. Like I said, out of all my siblings. This isn't really the best picture. First of all, my older sister was had just given birth, as you can see. So her face looks really round in this picture. But you can see the cheekbones, right? She and my younger sister, they both have high cheekbones, right? So you can see that their face looks kind of full in this. My younger sister had gained quite a bit of weight in this picture too, right? But you can see the high cheekbones. That's something that runs in my family. Actually, I'm the only one out of all my siblings that didn't get the high cheekbones. Anyway, so this was at my younger brother's graduation last year. Here's another, and it's unfiltered, as you can see. Here's another picture, right? This was when they were looking a bit more together. Everybody was slim. And not that it matters. You don't have to be slim. I'm just letting you know what was going on in the last pic. We had some meat on us there. I wasn't there. But they had some meat. The targeting was happening. That's why I wasn't there. Anyway, they have some meat on them in that last pic, especially my older sister. She had just given birth. But this is another picture of us. This one's ultra filtered, but it's a nice picture. You can see me there on the end. I'm like having my resting bitch face going on, but yeah, I'm the rough one, but I'm still attractive. I still look like my family. Here's another unfiltered pic of my sisters and I back in the day. And when I say back in the day, this was a couple years ago when I was in school, before I got my bachelor's degree. This was, I think, 2018 or 2019. Time is flying. It feels like it was just yesterday, but this was there, right? So these are my younger nieces. These are my nieces. That's my older sister in the green dress, right? That's my younger sister. And then that's me there. So they can't fool me and make me feel unattractive. I know what I look like. I am the rough sister, but I am attractive too. And when I say the rough sister, again, guys, not to get on myself, I just mean I've always been the roughin'. I've always been the one that was more of a roughin', and it took years for me to blossom into myself. But I have always been the rougher one. And then even if we're talking about aesthetics, right, and we're talking about features, I don't have high cheekbones. I can be real about it. I'm attractive, I am, but I'm more of somebody that you would call cute, right? And I can be pretty if I really work at it and I take care of myself, but I'm attractive. My sisters are beautiful and they could have been models. They even have the high cheekbones. As you can see, I don't know why I didn't inherit that. That's just what was the Most High's plan. And my brothers have high cheekbones as well. Anyways, moving on. That's my younger sister. Now you can see I look exactly the same. So does my younger sister. Nothing has changed. Our hair was permed and broken. You know, again, we didn't know better, and my mom didn't either back then. We know better now about natural hair. That's why there's this misconception with a lot of people who still aren't educated about the thing, and they feel like black women can't grow hair because they're so used to back then when a lot of women, African American women, didn't know how to take care of their hair, and they were perming it and raking it out and not covering it at night, not moisturizing it, and having short, broken, eat out hair. So there's this misconception amongst a lot of people that we can't grow hair, and all of us can if we take care of it. Moving on. That's another picture of me. That was before my hair was permed. You can see I actually had hair on my head. I had a big full head of hair as a child, and I looked the same. I'm not ugly. Moving on. That's my older sister. This is more recent years. You know, if you see her hair stretched out, this is long hair, by the way. If you see her hair stretched out, it's down to, I want to say, below her breast area when she flat irons her hair. Anyway, this is her in later years, right? She's older. This is another picture of her in later years, right? Same high cheekbones. A lot of guys used to like my older sister when we were younger. She was a hot commodity. And my younger sister too, of course. And I've had my share of men too. Like, don't get it twisted. Don't get it lit. I'm saying I'm the rough one. I've had a lot of experiences. I'm not hurting. And I'm not thirsty like they try to lie and say. I'm just targeted. You can't fool me. Anyways, another picture of my older sister. Another one. You can see how she looked back in the day. This was in her 20s, right? She used to model, but she just wasn't photogenic enough and she was too shy and awkward. That's what the problem was. My older sister, again, you can see the high cheekbones, full lips. These are features that were praised back in the day. My older sister, again. I don't know if this is a wig or if this is, I'm pretty sure this is a wig. I don't want to lie about stuff. I think this is a wig, but this might be her real hair. I'm not sure. Let's get to my younger sister now. My younger sister, she's wearing the army pants, but this is not gaslighting or shadow networking. I know I told you guys that they use army fatigue. Let me see what the percent is. Okay, good. I'm good. I know I told y'all they use army fatigue on me and plaid. This is not that. She was just wearing that in this picture. But anyway, she's something like a mix of my older sister and myself. Because I'm the opposite of my older sister. I'm super photogenic, and then in real life I look rough if I don't fix myself up. And then if I fix myself up, I look like my pictures. My older sister is like, if you look at her pictures, you might be like, you know, and then look at her in real life, you're like, damn, you are not photogenic. My younger sister is like the perfect balance between the two of us, where she's photogenic like me, right? And she looks like exactly like her pictures, where she's not, well, no, she has rough moments too. I'm not gonna lie, she has rough moments like I do. But let's just say I have more rough moments than she does. When I fix myself up, I look just like my pictures. Anyways, so here's another picture of her. She had gained some weight here. But again, you can see the high cheekbones, right? The full lips. These are features that run in my family that we have been complimented about. And I'm not trying to sound narcissistic, but they keep every day pounding in this ugly thing or this bald head thing. I know what they're trying to do, and I come from a good looking family. You can't fool me. And I'm attractive myself, even with me being the rough one. This is a filtered picture, but she looks just like her pictures, I'm telling you. This is a very nice picture of her. And you can see she has the wig on. You know, the girl's hair long too bad in this picture. When she take the wig off and flatter in that thing, her hair is about the length of that thing on her head. Moving on, my younger brother. This is the oldest younger brother. You can see it says 2020, right? So this was 4 years ago. He looks older now, more full, more filled out, and he has long locks now. His dreads are long. But I couldn't find any recent pics of him. Another one, he was modeling. Here's another picture of him, right? Another thing we're told, we have nice smiles in my family. Moving on to my youngest brother, this is the baby. This is a more recent picture of him. This is from last year. So I was able to find more recent pictures of my youngest brother, right? People actually say him and I resemble, but it's a little different, of course. But it's the chinky eye thing that runs in our family. Another feature we're complimented on, right? So anyways, 2023, he's a basketball player. He plays ball like me, like Big Sis, and our niece plays basketball too. My sister just sent videos of her balling on the court. She's so young and she's good. They see potential in her. So that's something that runs in the family. He's really good. And my other brother plays basketball too, by the way. Anyway, so this one here, he was modeling, I think, for Abercrombie and Finch, if I'm not mistaken, one of those places. And he has, I think, like 300,000 followers on its TikTok or Instagram, one of those places. I don't remember which app it is because I'm not on it. But yeah, I come from that. So I'm not going to envy other races when I have a good looking family that I'm just fine with. I grew up around them. This is me, right? This is an unfiltered pic of me. So this is how it looks when I get myself together. This is a recent pic, y'all. Not super recent, but this was before my targeting went viral. So this was in 2022, the year I actually relocated off island, went to the States and experienced all those things that I experienced in the targeting going viral. You can see how clear my skin was. I had a few blemishes, I always do, but not like what's happening to me now. And don't get mistaken, y'all, I still look nice when I wash up my face and stuff, but I am having like a little bit of a breakout. If I took a video, I could show you all. This is a pic of me from back in the day. It says 2021. That's not when it's from. This is an old video from, I believe, 2018, if I'm not mistaken, is when I think this is from. But look at how my hair looks when I moisturize it and I take care of it. This is how my hair, my curl pattern looks when I take care of my hair and it's not dry and broken. I'm not bald-headed. I'm just having a bad year. And they're taking advantage of it. And you can see my skin was kind of clear too. This picture, again, was just before I left island, 2022. You see how full I was? I wasn't even working out then, just so you know. That's why you don't see as much muscle tone. I had kind of gotten out of shape here in this picture. I was teaching and I was doing security at night. And I was eating a lot of junk food. Kind of fell off from the healthy lifestyle. I told you I've worked out throughout the years off and on. This was an off time for me. And this is how I looked. No filter, right? This is me. When I fix myself up and I'm not stressed out and going through all this shit and my skin is clear. You cannot fool me. Anyway, this is another picture too. This is from, as you can see, May 21st, 2022. That same year that this picture is from. I had cornrows in. I'm actually trying to get cornrows now. Y'all, I wrote this lady about it a couple months ago. And she actually answered me. I was so happy because you know it's weird when you're targeted. You never know what's going to happen. She actually responded and I made an appointment with her. I ended up having to cancel for financial reasons. Then I rescheduled with her. The week later, she rescheduled. Something came up. And then I told her I would contact her to make another appointment. And I never did. Things kept coming up and I had to save my money. And so here I am a few months later now. I wrote her like 2 weeks ago. Tried to make an appointment. She didn't answer. So I am actively trying to get cornrows because that's one of the styles that really in the past has helped me grow my hair. But also I just love how it looks on me. I love how convenient it is. So that's something I'm working on. I'm trying to find someone I haven't really looked actively. That I only have been in communication with that lady. But I just want to get some big cornrows like this and just wear this in my hair. That's what I was doing when I was in school in 2018. This is me now, y'all. Like literally, this is what it is. I've been working on taking care of myself. I have apparently, from what I found out, a 24-inch waist. And the reason I'm saying that is because they keep trying to come for me with the technology. The other day before I measured my waist, they sent me this video saying, your waist ain't that snatched in real life, with the shadow networking. Come to find out, I accidentally found out that it is. I was measuring my waist because I ordered this waist trainer because my belly is getting a little poofy from the whatchamacallit, from the, what am I doing? I'm in a surplus. Remember, I'm bodybuilding and I'm actively trying to gain weight. And then you cut it down once you get the weight on. So I'm at 180 something, but I'm seeing the weight also in areas where I don't want it to go, like my stomach. But it's not really bad because I work out actively. I don't have a gut or anything, but there's more meat there than typical. But my waist is still a 24-inch waist. And they were trying to shadow network and say, your waist ain't snatched like that. Yeah, it is. So stop trying to gaslight me and make me feel like I'm this ugly, hideous beast. You can't fool me. I know I walk around rough, but I know what I look like. This is me in my early 20s, y'all. So y'all can see what my body type is naturally like. I'm naturally a slim girl. I always have muscle tone, as you can see, but I'm naturally a slim girl. If I'm not putting weight on, that was before I gained my woman weight though. Because again, like I told y'all in the picture, this is, like I said, from 2022, before I left and my targeting went viral. So I was targeted here, but the targeting wasn't as bad as it is now, right? I wasn't working out here. This was an off time for me, and this was my body weight. So over the years, I have put on weight without having to try, but I'm typically in the 160, not even 170. I would say the heavy 160s, like 168, 167. That's my usual weight now. Well, not now. Now I'm 180 something. But typically, if I'm not working and I'm bodybuilding and purposely gaining weight, my natural weight is about 160 something, 167. But back in the day, it used to be 150. All throughout my 20s, I used to stay at a 150, 152 weight range. And so I used to look skinny. I was really slim. I was a slim Jim type thing. And I'm just show this again, another unfiltered, because this is an actual video. I can show y'all a video. I could play it for you right now. Actually, let me do that so you can see. I know how I look. Let me hurry up. Let me just raw video of me. When I was teaching and all this stuff like that in 2022 before I left Ireland, when I still had my car. This is how I look when I fix myself up. And my skin was clear. You can see I do always have some sort of activity in my face. There are blemishes there, but not like what's happening now. Here again, another picture. You can see how long my hair was. This isn't all my hair. I had clip-ins in, but my hair was so long the clip-ins blended easily. I used to just flat iron my hair and clip in the clip-ins. So anyways, that's 2022 when I had the cornrows. Another unfiltered up close picture. So they can't fool me. And then these are my parents. You can say I look like my mom, kinda. We all do. And that's my dad. My dad actually used to be this huge, big, buff, muscular guy. This isn't even a good picture of him. They used to call him Big Chest because he was this big, huge, buff guy. And they're older now. They're skinny and older and elderly now. But this is my parents, right? Taking care of my hair this year, but I know what I am. I know my potential, and I know how I am, right? I know what I look like. So that's all I'm saying, y'all. Knocking it down. I'm not envious of other races. I stupidly shared offensive content out of anger. I've apologized for it. Stop painting the false narrative. All right, I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Peace out. This is the end of it, y'all, because now I have to make the clip that I'm going to attach to the beginning. But it's on 1%, so I want to hurry up and end the video. I just want to knock the stupidness down, men. So I'll talk to y'all. Peace out. So into the pictures, I forgot to show y'all my niece's hair. So you can see that when we take care of her hair, grow very long hair. This is my niece, one of my nieces. I didn't want to show her face on this account here. I mean, you saw some of those other pictures where one of them was in the picture with me and my sisters, but I'm not really trying to have them on, my YouTube like that for security purposes and privacy purposes. That's her hair in a shrunken state. You see the curls and everything? And not that matters, But again, it's just the narrative. I know what they're doing. Even if her hair was as coarse as can be and there was no curl pattern, she could still grow long hair. Anyways, so this is her hair, right? So that's my niece's hair. My sister's daughter. Hold on, y'all. The garbage truck is passing by. That's it, y'all. Peace out.